Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Who forgot that the clocks went forward and is desperately sad about losing that hour. It threw me off my game. What is Tekop doing today? What a mean little man he is. Although it certainly has... Well, I don't know, the adrenaline has definitely peaked. That's woken me up from my slumber. Chris just said to me before we went on air, good luck, mate, we're going to try a new musical bed today. So I thought, oh, OK, it's just going to be some sort of harmless, plinky, plonky, Sunday brunchy. And I was like... And boom, in it comes. Well, there you go. That's woken me up a bit. I must admit, sitting in the makeup room as they were applying all the war paint on, my eyes were shut and I thought they'd never open again. There's something, it sends you into a reverie. Somebody sort of brushing your hair like this and little feelings of tickly brushes all over your face. I was just sitting there like, and I thought, oh, do I have to go upstairs and do a show? Can I just let Benedict do it all by himself? He's here, by the way. Hello, Benedict.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear. That's me if I'm having to do the show. It's a Chuckle Brothers reference. You're just looking at me just like, what's going on?
No, I know the Chuckle Brothers. I'm a 90s kid. Yeah.
Personally? Do you know them?
I don't know, I keep asking this about everyone. Are they both still with us?
No.
Oh.
No. So you don't know them that well.
Well, no, they're not family friends.
Oh, are they not?
Not been out drinking with them.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
That's for the next life.
It is.
Oh, the good old
Who
Chuckle
are you family
Brothers.
Friends with? Is there anybody good? Anybody?
Who are my family friends? Do you want me to, like, list my family's friends?
Well, last time I was here, you listed off the people you went drinking with at a yacht club. So, yes, I think you should, in fact. If anybody remembers that. She was not stealing yachts. I'll just say that again. She was not stealing yachts. But
You're
yeah,
a family friend.
Sorry, me? That's true, actually.
You've met my family, have you not?
Yes, that's true. I'm not even really your friend. I'm friends with your mum. That's
it, basically. Yeah. My dad had better watch out. You're on manoeuvres. But, I mean, if you want to know where this goodness came from, you have to go to the fountain.
There you go. But who else is good? Right, who's in the top 3 family friends? Yeah, just name a few.
Oh, it's got to be Big Evil and Shaz.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I love Big Evil and Shaz.
Do you reckon
you can
listening?
tell by the names they're good people, can't you?
Do you reckon they're listening?
I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah,
That'd be
so.
nice. So Chris is in my ear going, am I meeting them later? Because it's Chris's turn to come to the Cotswolds. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, that sounded weird. No, Chris is my great producer and my friend. Oh, my goodness. Oh, help me. Can we just roll back? You know, we lost an hour last night because the clocks went forward. Or can we, like, reverse that?
Oh, yeah, this hour doesn't count.
Or lose another hour.
This hour doesn't count. We can say what we like. It doesn't matter.
Oh, do you know, this Sunday show, this weekend show, it's already got a sort of world of its own.
It does, yeah.
There's something funny goes on at weekends where you just think...
It's because Ofcom doesn't apply. That's not true, by the way, but we like to pretend that it doesn't.
Ofcom have days off, and I'm just like, yeah, so does my brain. My brain has a day off as well. And so we end up in this situation where, I don't know, 6 minutes on the clock, and we haven't even said anything about the news yet, despite the word news being on the outside of the building. Right, on that note, should we talk about news?
No. Let's talk about something else.
Yesterday, Chris said in my ear, we managed a whole segment and didn't talk about anything of any importance once. And I'm
okay,
like,
how long was that segment? 12, 15 minutes maybe?
I think it's about basically 3 hours.
I think we can better that.
Can we?
Yeah.
3 hours that continues on through the night.
Absolutely nothing in relation to current affairs.
First of all, it's worth making a mention that there has been a significant incident in Derby. We don't know anything yet. A man has driven a car into members of the public. What we do know, he is of Indian origin. I don't know if he is a British national or not. He has been arrested. The police do not know the motives. There are some serious injuries, but nothing life-threatening, which is good. And of course, it's tempting, isn't it, to speculate. But I remember the horrible incident in Liverpool with all the football fans celebrating, and immediately when a car went into those crowds, we all thought one thing, and it didn't turn out to be that thing. So I suppose we should wait and see
Well, we should absolutely wait and see. I think that the fact, though, that was the initial assumption of so many people in Liverpool does speak to something, the fact that it has... Well, there is a bit of a pattern, a bit of a trend for certain types of incident to be linked to certain things. And it's, we shouldn't actually shy away from that fact. I mean, we're sat here in London right now, but in any major city, not just London, you'll see bollards everywhere. All along roadsides, bridges, major buildings, developments, that sort of thing. And we all know why that is. We all know why.
Yeah. And yet, at the same time, we had thousands of people turn up yesterday for this really horrible far-right march. I mean, I was with Samara last night because I kip over at Samara, so I'm doing my London
to be clear, it's not a far-right march. It claimed to be an
anti-far-right march. Yeah,
that's what I was saying.
Did I miss the word anti?
Yeah, you said it was just a really nasty far-right march.
No, it was not.
Which is a bit of a Freudian slip. Well, it could have been.
Anti.
I mean, I don't know.
But, she has got a swollen thumb where someone whacked her yesterday when she was out reporting for us. These people are vicious. They are the ones who are full of hate. They would want us to assume that everybody other than us are wonderful and should be beatified, and we are the problem. And yet, as you say, humans inherently pattern seek. It is how we manage to defend ourselves. It is inbuilt biologically. So you go, last time I went up that tree, the branches were a bit flimsy and I fell out from the top and I knocked my noggin, so I'm not going to do that again. You pattern seek. So it's normal for us to do that. And as you said, there has been successive horrible attacks where cars have been used as vehicles. Look, on the side of the screen there, if you're listening to the radio, by the way, on the screen we had in the middle of Trafalgar Square, there's some sort of stage for this anti-far-right march, and the man who looks like a cartoon face drawn on a thumb, Zach Polanski. I can't say that word with enough vitriol. Zach Polanski.
Zach Polanski and Hannah Spencer,
the child
recently
entertainer
elected
thing.
Green MP
and some other character who looks like a creature from my nightmares. They're all on stage and just treating this like some sort of rave. He's there doing all like woo, 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 and she's like holding the microphone like a Gallagher brother, like yeah, we're for love and peace. I'm like, you do realise, party of love and peace, that you are being taken over by mad Islamists. You do realise, Zach Polanski, that a huge number of your extended family have essentially wanted to disown you, and you terrify them for striking fear into the hearts of the Jewish community. You do realise, Zach Polanski and Hannah Spencer, that you have brought in, ramroded sectarian politics deep into the heart of politics, that you call everybody who is anything but a mad, radical, extremist left-winger or a Muslim, a nasty, hate-fueled person. You are the harvesters and harbingers of division. And it looks like it's just some wonderful jamboree. Here we are in the middle of London. Woo, woo, woo. My disdain, and that is the mildest term I can sort of think of right now, because there's a load of other words I'd rather use, but I probably shouldn't at 10:10 on a Sunday morning. For those horrible, willful, nasty people who parade around in their sort of, rainbow lanyards, in their kids' entertainment costumes, pretending that they are the progressives, I abhor them.
Well, for those of you obviously who listening can't see the screen, it is a bit like a sort of a music festival that was set up in Trafalgar Square yesterday, and as you say, Alex, they are sort of behaving as if they are sort of an Oasis tribute band. But that's because a lot of this, the Green Party movement was always founded on a sort of a childlike narcissism, and it's just taken that to a new extreme, and it is the childlike narcissism of the middle classes.
It is narcissism.
And this is the thing. The nastiness that pervades the Green Party now hides behind that childlike narcissism. There is a perception from lots of Middle England that environmentalism is good, the Greens have environmentalism in their name, therefore they are harmless. And, quite aside from the fact that, the Islamism aspect of this that has encroached into that party isn't even the most dangerous aspect of their ideology. That's the hilarious thing. The most dangerous aspect is the idea that there is a future for humanity post-energy that doesn't even require because let's be clear, even Islamists will tell you, hey, we need the electricity to work to make our thing work. These people have these insane multiple sort of strands of ideology. On the one hand, which is that you can get into bed with religious radicals and extremists, but that you can also, on the other hand, have a world in which there is no fossil fuel. there is absolutely no nuclear fuel, that everybody can share the vacuum cleaner on their street in the interests of keeping carbon emissions down. Yeah, genuinely, you could not get to, frankly, two very different ideologies, splice them together and go, we're going to make this work. It is this is the thing. Lots of people are very worried about people like Zach Polanski and what it is that they're doing. But we have to sit back and recognise this. Intelligent life is supposed to learn from experience, from mistakes. These people do not. And this is perhaps,
well, that would be suggesting that they're part of what one would call intelligent life on Earth.
Frankly, it is a very sort of a black-pilling experience. In this country, there are many people who are perfectly rational, perfectly sensible, see the direction we're going, but you have to come to terms with the fact you also share a country who have all the same rights to vote and have a voice as you, who genuinely live in a fantasy existence. They don't understand the realities of what is going on around them.
Because they are narcissists. Because they are narcissists.
Narcissists, idiots, whatever you want to call them, they're not there. This is maybe 25% of the population, it turns out, according to the polls.
I did a fascinating interview, I think, last year with a guy who's an expert on narcissism and said much of the left-wing movement is that. It is that. Most of these activists are that. What I don't understand, Benedict, is this. When you look back at the last century, we spent trillions with America on trying to fight communism. We realised it was perilous. We realised it was an imminent danger. We knew it wanted to deconstruct society, to drag us back to the Dark Ages, to divide society, so much so that we had a protracted Cold War fighting this evil. Now we've elected it! It runs the country. I don't understand how that has come to pass.
It's not just in this country, it's most of Europe as well, which is the hilarious situation. But, I mean, how has it come to pass? Again, this is, I have to say, this is a difficult conversation to have, because it means, frankly, going after a couple of sacred cows, which is that democracy is inherently flawed. It does have built-in issues in the system, which means that everybody ostensibly partaking in a society has an equal say. Not everybody is equally, if you like, valuable or intelligent about certain things. And this, it must be said, actually, this is not simply me having a go at left-wing people and calling them all stupid, because actually there are many very intelligent left-wing people. You see some of them fighting a losing battle in the Labour Party, trying to stop that party from driving itself over a cliff. And you talk to those people and you think, God, I'm very happy I'm not in your situation. But hey, how many years of Tory rule have we just come off the back of? It's very much an equal opportunities idiocy in this country, I'm afraid.
I mean, a few thoughts on this. I think that a lot of this, sort of sudden uptick in radical leftism is driven by the internet, it's driven by social media, it's driven by banality and infantilization and extremes that sort of feed algorithms. It's also driven by the fact that it's a rot that sets in and it sort of weakens a nation from the inside out. And I think that that's happened. But it's set in so much, it's now audacious. I don't know if you saw the story of, I forget his name, the head of the National Education Union, I believe it is, his conference is about to begin. Kabady is his surname, that's all I can remember. Daniel Kabady, thank you, Chris. And he's been saying that all the teachers in his union have to start visiting Calais camps. They need to collate and disseminate pro-immigration stuff. They need to try and prevent, and he said this, we together are going to prevent reform from getting into government. You're a teachers' union, for crying out loud. If I had kids, I would be taking them out of the classroom.
I'm actually very keen for him to do that, though. I'm very keen for them all to visit Calais. See. It's not what you think it is. It's not this wonderful place of all of these, huddled women and children just yearning to be free.
Yeah, stirring pots of communal gruel and singing Kumbaya.
Go to Calais. Have a look at the people that are there, not the conditions in which they live, which makes you feel bad for them, because there are plenty of people, homeless people in this country, who live pretty awful lives as well, and I don't see people bending over backwards for them. Actually, look at the people, talk to the people. This is, of course, the key thing. They never talk to the people.
Oh, no.
The great internationalists and the multiculturalists know nothing about the cultures of which they wish to coexist with and have no interest in
they've not visited those countries. When people like us say these are deeply misogynistic societies with some very backwards views, we know because we've set foot in some of these countries and we've lived among them and we've seen for ourselves.
Yeah, but we didn't even do this when it was the European Union. The great multiculturalists had no interest in Polish culture or learning Polish or anything like that. They never spoke to these people. And the funny thing is, of course, they'd probably have been surprised by quite how right-wing a lot of Polish people turn out to be. because, you know, it's a normal post-communist country that's decided, actually, we don't want that route. But those people had no interest in multiculturalism at all.
No.
They had no real interest in these people assimilating. What they wanted them for, and this is partly actually what a lot of people want these migrants for, cheap labour.
Oh, but
That's
also it's beyond that now. This whole stuff is just one giant Gucci handbag. Let's take a short break. Let's do some messages for the break to get people revved up and ready to contribute to our communal catharsis. Alex Benedict, Tim here. How can this woman be an MP? She is an embarrassment. Well, the Muslim voting bloc. That answers your question. Morning, Alex. The only people missing from that anti-far right protest were the people with common sense and Muslims. That's actually quite true. Tracy in Chingford. Alex Benedict. The Greens, Polanski, etc. either know precisely what they are doing or they are off the chart stupid on a colossal scale, says Stephen in London. Well, probably a fusion of the two. And it's not lost that Trafalgar Square, in memorial to the Battle of Trafalgar, is being used predominantly by the left-wing extremists. Keep your thoughts coming in. 03444 99 1000 is the number if you'd like to send a WhatsApp. Or let's have a big push for voice notes today. I love me a voice note. So, you know, hit that little microphone on the WhatsApp screen, lay down a minute of your thoughts, preferably no more than that, and we will sit back and share them with the nation. You can also use that number if you want to give us a call. It's the brilliant Tommy Tiptoes, Tommy Bateson, Irish dancer supremo, who is on the hotline today. So give him a buzz, leave your details, and we'll give you a call back when it is time to take some calls. If you would rather send a text message, the number is 87222. If you were going to do that, please write the word talk before you text. We will be back with more views, more news, to sweep away the blues or maybe to induce them just after this.
Good morning to you. This is Tour the Home of Common Sense with me, Julia Hartley-Brewer. Just breaking news in the last couple of moments. Extraordinary news. Not just that the police have arrived at the Sandringham estate where Prince Andrew, as was now Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, is currently living since being thrown out of the Windsor estate. The police have arrested Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. It's an extraordinary revelation. And certainly what's been contained in the Epstein files was released in the last few weeks. It's his 66th birthday today. What a birthday present that is.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh, well done.
You're a fool if you dare.
'cause there's something down there. Can I just say, Tech Up, I love your selection of musical beds today. That was my favourite programme growing up. Did you ever watch Trapdoor?
I couldn't hear what that was.
Oh,
because for some reason, no, it just decided to stop working at that exact. I heard like the first bar of whatever it was, and then I was just like, "What are we doing?"
The theme music of Trapdoor.
I see. I did not watch that. No, that's not something I'm aware of. Okay,
well, you need to go online and watch all the back episodes because it is so good.
What is it?
Oh, what Trapdoor was? These little plasticine monstery. It's hard. How can you explain Trapdoor? There was a blue blob with goggly eyes called Burke. I know. I know, it was the 80s. Everything was good in the 80s.
I was going to say,
and
this must have been a really easy sell to the TV executives.
He lived in the cellars of this, like, scary castle.
Right.
And his best mate was called Boney, and he was, like, this sort of disembodied talking skull.
Burke.
Yeah, disembodied talking skull. And then there was this other sort of splat of plasticine with legs. So it's kind of like a sort of a beast spider called Drut. And they also, and worms and stuff would come out the trapdoor and Drut would eat them. And every now and then, like, Burke would lift up the trapdoor and more worms would come out and he'd make them into pies for the thing upstairs who would shout, "Burke!" And the whole room would shake. And then sometimes things came out of the trapdoor that were more weird and wonderful, fantastical plasticine-shaped monsters.
What?
I know.
That was insane.
I'm just saying, it was brilliant. Anyway, that's the joy of the day. Let's get back to the horror stories, shall we? Had a brilliant message from Liam from Worcester, who's writing about the arrogance of leadership. Power builds, he says. Leaders misjudge the limits of tolerance. People work, obey, and pay until they can't. Then governments clamp down, convinced they are wiser, stronger, better than the rulers who came before. Blind to the lessons history already wrote. Stability is an illusion. Pressure mounts, judgment blinds, and the cycle repeats, always, relentlessly, inevitably.
All right, Eric Hobsbawm.
There we go.
That was a bit full on.
But, you know, talking about ghosts in the past and cycles repeating, Tony Blair.
Oh, yes.
He's popped up, hasn't he? Weirdly not talking about peace in the Middle East when you'd think it would be exactly the right moment to do so. No, forget that Blair Institute thing. But he is talking about the fact that the left must, well, he says we must end the left's unholy alliance with Islamists. And he's right. I mean, the one thing that you can say about Tony Blair is he definitely did not encourage that, did he, with his geopolitical actions?
I'm going to say, actually, it says a lot when even the devil has just appeared and gone, guys, this has gone too far. Even I think this is a bad idea. He is right. It's the end of the, and you know, we can all have a good old laugh at his expense, mock him, because a lot of this is sort of downstream of his own decisions. We can do that, and we should do that. We should do that a lot. But still, it doesn't alter the fact that he is right about this, and that it's not too late, actually, to reverse it. The problem is, listen, say what you like about Tony Blair. He was a very talented politician, a very effective politician.
Yeah.
Keir Starmer is not that man. You know, Donald Trump was saying, oh, he's no Churchill. He's no Tony Blair either. Tony Blair, I would have a lot more faith in being able to extricate the Labour Party from its current position.
Even though there's a lot about Blairite politics that I vehemently disliked, and he was fortunate to inherit a Britain on the up, cool Britannia.
Yeah.
He had a lot of good stuff to work with, and then seemed to trash our country, beginning the whole open door immigration stuff. But there was other things that, quite frankly, he like you said, he was a proper leader. He was a conviction politician. He was an intelligent man. He could hold his own on the international stage. I mean, so Keir Starmer, who used to love going about on his little aeroplanes and putting out montages of look at me and, you know, combat fatigues. Now, just, I mean, he's been exposed as the nincompoop that he really is. Get this for a headline. This is in the Mirror. So, of course, it is written in a way that I would cock an eyebrow at. Keir Starmer could soften immigration reforms as he makes a pitch for the centre ground. I love the idea that actually being a little bit more loosey-goosey about immigration is moving to the centre.
Honestly.
But it's terrifying.
They don't get... Honestly, the fact that there are... Listen, to be very clear here, the issue of immigration... Not just illegal immigration, legal migration as well. That Overton window on this particular topic has shifted so far to the right. It's insane that politicians... And let's be clear, when we say sort of London liberal metro elites, we all know what we mean. And in this sense, it is very accurate. they do live in a bubble. They do not understand. The conversations I have had outside of London, but including increasingly in London, with people who are not rabid racists or anything like that.
Just
They're
ordinary
not even,
Bob and Sue.
They're not even Reform or Conservative voters in a lot of cases. They have voted or do vote things like Lib Dem or Labour, who say it's got out of control, it's got out of hand. They would never have said these things 2-3 years ago even. We've reached that stage now where the centre ground is that there is too much immigration, not enough assimilation, something has to be... The centre ground, I would say, is actually already at the point of people need to be repatriated rather than just be reduced. And yet here we've got Sir Keir Starmer, who's probably been talking to people who simply do not know people on the outside world, saying, oh, maybe I won't go that far. No, buddy, this is going to do for you.
What is so alarming about this, right, is this argument is all about the changes they want to make to indefinite leave to remain.
Yes.
So we're not talking about seasonal workers on visas. We're not talking about a situation a bit like when all the people came from the EU accession nations, and, the Poles and the Bulgarians, the Romanians, et al., the Czechs, and they came to work because they did come to work. Well, maybe some people from Romania and Bulgaria less so, but that isn't a slight on those nations. It's just statistical. But this, actually, what they're talking about is people living here forever.
And let's be clear.
Let's be changing the composition of our population, radically altering our demography irreversibly. And we know as well that a lot of the immigration that has come recently, 80% are dependents or students. They are not working. Only 20% are. The other 80% are costing the taxpayer. They've come here for us to pay for them to be here. They don't integrate. They don't assimilate. They don't speak the language. And they want this to become a permanent aspect of British culture.
Except part of the issue is, on top of that, with that 20% who do work as part of the so-called Boris wave, right? They don't work enough. They don't earn enough, even though they're here. They're never going to be paying into the system. What indefinite leave to remain will give them is the rights to everything that comes down the line.
Every welfare benefit.
So many of these people, they're not 18, 19-year-olds coming who are going to pay into the system. They're people in their 40s and 50s. A lot of them are working in the care sector, which is massively underpaid. People, it doesn't matter what background you come from, born in this country, born abroad. The care sector does not pay enough for you to be a net tax contributor. The reason why we're bringing people from abroad is because we refuse to pay people already in this country what would make them net tax contributors. So we bring people in to work on subsistence wages, that is to say, never contribute in their middle ages, middle age, who will not pay into the system, and before you know it, will then be extracting from the system in terms of pension and the NHS. And that's why they want to stay here. That's why they want to stay. And this insane thing that you've got the government effectively saying, well, we're going to make it easier for them to stay.
And then they can stay forever.
And then what they're saying is, we're going to make it easier for these people who don't pay in to extract from it, at which point we'll then be told, we need to bring in even more people.
Exactly, it becomes an economic doom loop. Exactly, because we suddenly go, wow, look, the amount we pay in welfare outstrips the amount we collecting revenue from people who are working.
And all of
so we need to have more people come in.
And all of
it's
this
crazy.
It's the same childish narcissism. We're being told it's the kind thing to do.
The right thing to do.
Exactly.
It's the right thing to do.
It's nuts.
But do you know what else was nuts? And nothing. There was this moment yesterday. I went to a reform rally in Croydon. And
is there a yacht club in Croydon that I didn't know about? That's the only reason that you ever leave this
obviously,
place.
Plenty of yachts in that, land-borne mass of, the South Gloucestershire Cotswolds.
You can put them on trailers.
But there was this moment that I just thought encapsulated the inversion of truth, which typifies the Western world today. That, if someone says it's black, it's white. If someone says it's bad, it's good. If someone says it's right-wing, it's probably left-wing, etc. Everything seems to be inverted. And as I walked into the venue with Samara, we went together, there were people outside who would have ripped the hair from our scalps, standing there shouting, COVID masks on, hoods up, screaming. And they, by and large, were young white people, very young, angry, vicious, nasty, foam-flecked, rabid white people, seething with this sort of rage and aggression, resentments, bitterness, jealousy. And they were outside screaming, and you could hear from inside the venue their, caterwauls and their noise. Inside, however, there's a multicultural, multiracial audience, and among those, lots of Chagosians, because Chagosians ended up living in Croydon with their Chagosian flags. And Nigel started addressing the crowds, and they brings a tear to eye. They stood up, and they were holding the flags and cheering and cheering, because he was saying, we did these people such an injustice, we must protect them now. And they were dancing, the beautiful Creole happy culture, you know, woo. And every time they stood up and danced and cheered, this woman looked at me and sort of, oh, I'm so sorry. And I said, no, you know, this is brilliant, please, you know, we want you here. And it couldn't have been such a stark contrast to inside the venue, the people who are supposed to be the nasty brigade, the racists, were celebrating these Chagosians, saying we must protect them as a British overseas territory, we must not hand that back. And outside, a group of nasty, vicious, angry white people shouting obscenities and wanting to physically attack people. It was such a stark contrast. It was such a symbolic representation of this inversion of reality that we now live under, this permanent gaslighting that is sending us all tonto. And it's just, that memory is going to stick with me for a very long time.
It's, I mean, the state that we've managed to get ourselves into now, where you do have this, I'm prepared to believe that the same sort of people who went to this anti-far right rally in Trafalgar Square would be the exact same sort of people who would happily assault people in the street for, you know, wearing the wrong coloured rosette. But that is the situation we've got to, where these people genuinely do believe that they are the good guys in all of this. And I think really that this just sort of emphasises the need, I think, for a lot of discipline in parties like Reform, for instance, because it's all very well recognising the situation the country's got itself into and recognising the desire for it not to go down that trajectory. But it's going to be very difficult for a party like Reform to win power, even from its current position, or the Conservatives to actually rebrand itself and make a comeback. The odds are against right-wing parties in this country. The odds are against ordinary people.
The muscular mechanics of state.
And I'm just going to say this. I don't think it's priced in enough right now that in a couple of years' time at the next general election, we end up with a worse government than we currently have, because it's Labour propped up by the Greens.
No, exactly.
It's a real possibility.
But I do think the great folk of our sceptred aisle are going to, when it comes to ballot box, say, we cannot have that. Let's hope, eh? Right, let's take a short break. Lots more to discuss just after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Grain chill. Yay! I love the fact it's children's themes. As Benedict was just saying during the break, I like doing the Sunday show. It feels a bit more light-hearted. I'm like, oh wait, we're talking about before the break, doom if we get a Labour Party popped up by the Greens.
You get a reset.
It is. I mean, it is sort of like a roller coaster of emotions, isn't it? It's like having bipolar doing this show today.
Is it? Okay.
Maybe we should just rename it Bipolar Brunch. Of course, we have Weird Hour with Paul Cox coming up.
I'm sure you're not going to get any complaints if you decide to call it that.
Chris, aka Ratty, is in my ear going, no, no.
You can't do that.
Okay, Rat Boy, calm down. Calm down. Now, let's touch upon this. I want to get stuck into a bit of geopolitics with you because you are an expert. But let's sort of build our way up to the main international narrative by looking at things going on domestically. First of all, 4 people a day are now referred to the anti-terror programme.
That's reassuring, isn't it?
But, and here's the thing, you'd think, well, you know, we've seen, haven't we, the attacks on the ambulances, the Jewish ambulances. We've seen, well, we've had a lifetime of terror attacks, quite frankly. But apparently it is it's for extreme right-wing views, twice as many for Islamic extremism. Now, I would say this, first of all, yes, we now have extreme right-wingery in the UK. I have seen it on X. By the way, I'm not on X because it's Lent, FYI. I still look at it every now and then to get bits and bobs of information, but I'm not posting. I'm off social media. It has been lovely. But I say that because it is the far-right loons who've got to be in their bonnet about me because I did an interview saying, well, OK, if you don't believe that you can be black and British or non-Christian and British, etc., how do you prosecute that as policy? Now, I think it's perfectly valid to have a discussion about what ethnicity is and what makes a people a people. But when you start saying that's what separates us from everyone else as a political party, I'm like, what are you going to do then, Idi Amin? And they said they've got to be in their bonnet about me, and it stirred up a hornet's nest of radical views. But, so I've seen with my own eyes that this exists. But what I would say is I think that this stuff is a direct result of the Islamism.
Yeah.
It's, you know... It's...
Well, I think of not just of the Islamism, although that certainly plays a part, but it's of tolerating and indeed pushing certain things in this country that people don't want and haven't asked for, and the initial backlash to every time this happens saying, oh, well, that's because you're a racist, you're a far-right person, that you don't agree with this sort of thing. The irony is, for however many decades now, every couple of weeks, The Guardian or whoever it is runs a thing, you know, some columnist or something, or somebody on Twitter, about how the far right is on the march across Europe and we need to be vigilant. And then the very next day, they'll back a load of policies that make it exponentially more likely that the far right comes along,
but
because it's forced down people's throats. So it doesn't surprise me that there are an increasing number of people who are being referred for far right stuff. But I'd also say, even now, the majority of extremists in this country are not going to be far right. And the way that you deal with the far right, which until recently, I know that the fetishizers on the left like to think that they're everywhere, and in reality, the actual far right could maybe have fitted inside a small school sports hall somewhere until very recently. If you decide to continue to ignore the failure to assimilate, the fraud, the pushing of grievances, racial and national, neither of which have anything to do with this country, the sectarianism, you continue to indulge that and push that whilst denigrating everybody else, lo and behold, people will turn around and go, this is in fact
the other thing is, right, with this, these are people being referred to the counter-terrorism programme, and it's twice as many of the far right now being referred as Islamists. And the problem I have with this, and this is the words of the Home Office Islamism definition, which is some believe violence is a religious duty and not merely a necessary strategic tool to achieve their aims. If we clog up systems like Prevent, going, well, this person said something racist, more of the horrors are going to get through, and that will affect all of us. Let's move on swiftly, because we've got so much to pack. We've got 20 minutes left just done. We've got lots to pack in. Supermarket petrol stations have been forced to put up no fuel signs. Things are only going to get worse. The former head of BP has been saying today, well, we have to do a 4-day working week. We might have to alternate who can use their cars and when, based upon your number plate. So if your number plate begins in the first, half of the alphabet, you can drive on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and if it doesn't, then you drive on a Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. It's craziness.
It's a farce.
We should just be drilling in the North Sea. The answer is there, but that mad Miliband
Not
just
just
won't budge.
Miliband, though. Let's be very clear, and the Tories before. I'm sorry, anybody... Listen, I understand environmentalism. I understand the desire to bring back and rewild and to live in a nice, green, pleasant land. Everybody wants that up to a certain point. We all want the environment to be wonderful and for us all to be able to enjoy it. But I'm sorry, the fantasy that people have and this goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, the childlike narcissism, the fantasy land that so many people have willingly bought and believed without having read a single policy paper or looked at a single sort of financial projection. The insanity of this under the Conservatives as well. So many Conservatives have
the
absolutely
Conservatives arguably have been the worst when it comes to this stuff.
And I'm afraid to say
we're going to be the fastest on net zero. We're going to lead the world on self-flagellating.
But the fact of the matter is, we've already had an energy price shock in the last couple of years after the Ukraine invasion, after COVID as well. We had a real haywire situation in the markets. People should have seen this coming.
Yes.
You should see this. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're sat here thinking, oh, well, Taiwan will never happen, don't worry. Like, how much more do you want?
They've converted about 200, the Chinese have converted about 200 fast jets into now remotely operated drones, and they are lined up pointing at Taiwan right now, and tying into that, American Marines, normally based in that part of the world to potentially protect Taiwan, have now been relocated to the Middle East and China. They are moving. I mean, I think things could happen in Taiwan.
This is a separate conversation to the one we're talking about petrol. So I'll just sort of finish up on the petrol thing, on the fuel thing. It's insanity. It's a dereliction of duty. Your government ought to be providing, and I know that there are people who seem to think that free health care and free benefits and all that sort of thing are what a government's for. No, it's not. The government's there to make sure that the border is secure, that the police arrest criminals and the criminals are put in prison, and that the lights stay on. That's basically, you can actually have a fully functioning state with just those things, and it's just insane. And again, narcissism and self-indulgence, that people have believed that it's other things that they can do. This is something that they should have secured. It's something that they should be moving to secure right now, because this is going to get worse. Because now we can talk about what's going to happen, which is that the situation in the Middle East is not going to get any better. Even if Donald Trump announces a pause in hostility in a couple of weeks' time, the taboo has been shattered here. The wars have started now. Everybody can see what is on the table in terms of what the opposition have got. And the key thing here is also the Chinese can see everything that the Americans have got and how it works. And the fact that the Americans have been redeploying things to the Middle East. There is no real deterrence left now between these two nuclear states, because even if you take the nuclear question out of the equation, in the South China Sea, every other missile system has just been pretty publicly demonstrated, and everybody can see what's involved here. China is not Iran. China is not Russia. China is a significantly bigger power with significantly better technology. Taiwan is a different question because it's a very difficult place to try to invade. But the idea that the United States might be able to fight a war in the South China Sea and win it, as opposed to just fight the Chinese to a standstill, well, that's off the table now. And if the question of victory is off the table, very quickly the question then becomes, so what's the point? If we can't win it,
why
we can avoid losing, but we can't win it. What are we doing here?
Well, let's pause on that and actually come back and address all of the things happening in geopolitics, because they are all interconnecting, as they always have done. So Benedict and I are going to walk you through those patterns and those developments and tell you the things you should be looking out for among the headlines if you want to sort of have a little, twist of the magic 8-ball and see what is going to happen in the future, because the future is just about coming today, I would argue. So that's what we're going to be doing after the break. Do stay tuned if you want to get in touch. The number is 03444 99 1000 on WhatsApp. That's also the number to leave us a voice note on WhatsApp. 87222 is the number to send a text message. Write the word talk before you text. And if you'd like to register your interest in talking to me in person, that'd be lovely as well. 03444 99 1000. Tommy Bates will... Tommy Bates, are just Batesy boy. Tommy Tiptoes will take your call, and he will put down all your details and give you a call back when it is time to open up the floor to our wonderful viewers and listeners. We're back just after this.
Welcome to Down the Local, the show that goes from pub to pub across the country, speaking to the punters about the subjects driving us all nuts at the moment.
That's Rachel Reeves, Rachel Thieves, Rachel McCounts.
I don't really know Meghan Markle. I know Meghan Markle's from Suits, and that's about it.
I don't know about anyone else, and I don't know where this is going. I have 0% beard, and I feel
Raising the flag, I think, is symptomatic of this desperation.
Is public transport good value for money?
No, it isn't.
You really don't like speaking to people.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
That's old school Blue Peter. There you go. Sounds of the Yacht Club, if you will.
Again, earpiece wasn't working. Had no idea. This is very disappointing.
We need to get some new earpieces.
Oh, there it is. Now it's working.
There we go.
It's very temperamental, is all I can say. But yes. Oh no, it's gone again.
There we are. Right, let us talk about it. We're going to be joined very shortly, we hope, by Kevin Hollinrake, who is a Conservative Party chairman. Before we do that, let's give everybody a quick overview of what is going on geopolitically. If I were to do a little up sum and then throw to you, I would say that look out for the Chinese now eyeing up Taiwan, because American military assets have been moved out of that part of the world to the Middle East. Meanwhile, Trump is considering bringing 10,000 more troops. When he first announced the original ceasefire with Iran, as in we're not going to bomb your oil and gas fields, it gave him time to bring ground forces in, amphibious vehicles, Marines. He's now contemplating bringing even more in. What are they likely to do? They are likely to try and take over parts of the Iranian coastline to defend the Strait of Hormuz, not to try and take over Iran itself, although by the sounds of things, the Pentagon might be suggesting to Trump to bring more assets into the area in case they need to consider that. So when Trump says this war's going to end very soon, I would suggest it ain't.
No, it's not. I mean, if it is, it's due to circumstances that none of us can see. But what I would say is that if he is genuinely contemplating putting troops on the ground, the military targets inside Iran, or the military goals of the United States and Israel, are probably being met at a much greater rate than actually most of us understand. And to be fair, the ability of the Iranian regime to fire off missiles and drones over the last couple of weeks has been degraded quite significantly. All sorts of reasons for that, but he would not be contemplating putting troops into Iran if there was any prospect of the Iranians being able to fire off at them at will, without any kind of support, because that would just be a disaster.
And what Trump does not want, what Trump does not want, he's not by nature an interventionist president, and I honestly do believe that. And also, if people think that Trump sits there going, I'm going to do this, I'm going to, he has advisors, people from the military, people from the Pentagon will come and saying, look, this is what we think you should do, this is approach we believe you should take, and he will sign off on things.
Yeah, whatever you might think about the administration, the people in the Pentagon are not fools. We have to be clear about this. The US military is still the US military.
And I'm glad.
It's not perfect, it's not infallible.
I'm glad you emphasised again something I keep saying, which is militarily this is being prosecuted seamlessly, perfectly. They have managed to wipe out a lot of the military infrastructure of Iran, which is giving them the ability to now look at these other options. So when everyone goes, oh, it's a disaster, what is the plan? Actually, the plan has been executed better, swifter, more expediently and comprehensively than I think even the Americans themselves believed they could do. And I think it shows that Iran is very much on the back foot.
It shows also, I think, the degree, once again, to which Israel has managed to completely infiltrate great swathes of that regime, because a lot of this is based on intelligence that is being obtained by the Israelis. In terms of the actual military resources, listen, Iran is still a country that has hundreds of thousands of armed men who can fight if it were to be
they say they have about 1 million, don't
well,
they?
Well, a million. Well, of course it could be 1 million in short order, but fully trained, fully armed, it's hundreds of thousands. That's still not something to sniff at. But the question is, are those going to be people who want to deploy to the coast to fight the US military?
Exactly. When people haven't been paid for a long time in their militias with the IRGC, what is the enthusiasm?
There's nothing like that. You don't want that situation of sitting ducks.
Now, listen, let us pause our geopolitical discussion because we are now joined by Kevin Hollinrake MP, Chairman of the Conservative Party. Good morning to you, Kevin. How are you this morning?
Alex. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, let me begin, because we've been talking in the last few minutes about the situation in Iran, and there seems to me a very distinct lack of leadership, lack of decision-making coming from Sir Keir Starmer. It's very clear that he is lily-livered and about siding with America in the things that America are doing over there. But I feel that a lot of the UK political parties seem to be sitting this one out. I don't think anybody is really stepping up saying this is what we would do, this is what we believe we should be doing, and this is how we're going to get ourselves ship-shape and ready to fight in future, because clearly we have an extremely diminished navy. Where is the Conservative Party on all of this? Would we now be looking at what's going on in Iran, looking at the Strait of Hormuz and saying, you know, we need to up our game, we need to contemplate doing more to help America? Or is Sir Keir Starmer's position of sending in a naval asset or two to intercept some missiles just about enough, and a precaution is the best approach?
Well, we said right from the start, Alex, that we should allow the US to use our shared bases, bases that are shared in terms of cost and in terms of that we cooperate on. And I think it was wrong that Keir Starmer refused to allow the US to use those bases. I mean, this is our number one ally in the world. In terms of how we get involved militarily, I think is a different question. I think clearly we believe we should respond to those who attack us. We saw drone strikes for example, on our base in Cyprus, and yet Keir Starmer's refused to retaliate, just simply shooting down the drones. But I think it's a different question entirely in terms of actually getting involved militarily, because we just simply don't know. And you probably don't know either, to be fair, what's in President Trump's mind in terms of what his exit strategy is for Iran.
Well, it does seem to me that they are bringing ground troops now, amphibious vehicles and ground troops into the theatre. So I think it's quite clear what is in President Trump's mind, which is actually deploying soldiers, deploying Marines in order to try and protect the Strait of Hormuz. And you said that, you know, Starmer refuses to retaliate over the strikes on Akrotiri. What would retaliation look like if it was a Conservative government in charge?
Well, you say you know what's in President Trump's mind in terms of deployment of ground troops. I don't think you actually know what's in President Trump's mind, or anybody else does. But my point was not about his mind about his deployment. My point was his mind about his exit strategy, which is crucial in terms of this.
To me, this is sounding a heck of a lot just like the Labour Party now. What is the plan?
Nonsense.
The Labour Party have now allowed the US to use the various air bases, and are saying that, you know, we just want to play a defensive role to intercept missiles heading towards our allies. So what is it that the Conservative Party would do differently to that? Or nothing. It's fine to say we would do exactly what's happening right now, and we think that that's the best approach. But I want to know if there is anything more than a fag paper between the way that the Labour Party are engaging with this conflict in the Middle East and the way the Conservative Party might wish to do so.
I think you've answered your own question. We said right from the start that we should let the US use our shared bases.
We've covered that, but let's look at now. Okay?
No. You said what's the difference?
Well, okay,
you said what's the difference
in the past. I'm asking what is the difference today, because we know that America is sending, well, they are putting into the theatre thousands of ground troops. So we might not know exactly what's in President Trump's mind, but if anyone had the ability to read the runes, you might look at that situation and think, oh, it seems to me he's probably going to use amphibious vehicles and Marines to try and take over territory along the coast to defend the Strait of Hormuz. My question is, what would we be prepared to do if we had a Conservative government?
Well, I already explained that to you, and that was the fact we should, as Kemi Badenoch describes it, instead of trying to catch the arrows, you attack the Archer. So when you know where the drones came from that hit Akatiri, and you know the actions that we are seeing against our bases, the attempted strike to Don Diego Garcia, which is one of our bases. We think we should hit people who try to attack us. That's
okay,
simple,
this
simple
is good.
principle.
This is good. This is
that's
now
completely
beginning to
different.
put,
That's
this...
completely different. Can I just say that's completely different from what you seem to be implying, which is that we should somehow get involved in some ground troops.
No, I've not implied anything. I've not said what I think we should do. I'm asking what you think we should do. And just to clarify, does that mean the Conservative Party would deploy UK bombers to attack sites in the Middle East?
Well, we as we said very clearly, the fact if people strike our bases, we should strike back.
Right. So that is a yes. The UK would deploy bombers to attack sites in Iran.
Where we know that people have tried to strike our bases and tried to hit our troops and our bases overseas and hit our allies, we absolutely think we should strike back.
And would you, the Conservative Party, consider deploying ground troops to prop up the American operation if they decide to use their own ground troops?
Well, it'd be entirely irresponsible for me or anybody else to make that decision without understanding the full picture of things. It sounds to me that it is there is no clear exit route in terms of a clear plan in terms of how you would deploy ground troops or how you would bring those ground troops back out of the region. So it would be entirely irresponsible for me to make that kind of
I've got to say goodbye to you. We've run out of time, but Kevin, thank you so much for answering my questions and joining us today. Right, folks, we're taking a short break, but we're back straight away just after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
One for all and all for one. Musket hounds are always ready.
I have no idea what that is. What is that?
The bill? I don't know.
D'Artagnan and the Three Muskehounds, Tech Up tells me.
Right.
I missed that one in my childhood. That one bypassed me entirely. But there you go. Thank you. So a strange, weird thing. We're talking about war and whether we'd bomb things, and it's peppered with retro children's TV hits. There you go. Let's first of all mop up that interview with Kevin. We didn't get as long with him as I wanted. He joined us a bit later than expected. And I wanted to really ask him about the geopolitical thing because the Conservative Party, Kevin Badenoch, sort of, you know, been a bit pigeon-chested about saying the Prime Minister doesn't have a plan. He is weak. And I'm sort of going, well, what is your plan? Because all she said is, it's all very well just intercepting the arrows. You've got to hit the archer. Well, OK, you can come up with natty little turns of phrase like that. What does this actually mean? If you were the government, would you be using our bombers? Would you be joining the air campaign? Would we consider joining the ground campaign? Kevin Hollinrake said it'd be irresponsible for me to say anything about that. We don't know what Trump's intentions are. Can you read Trump's mind? And I'm like, well, you don't have to read his mind to see that he is putting a lot of amphibious vehicles and ground troops and Marines, etc., into the region. I think we can conclude that he is probably going to use them. And are we going to get involved? And to me, I think that there is basically a thin paper between what Starmer's doing and what the Conservative Party say they would do. Other than, let's say, I think we've managed to get a bit of clarity now that they would potentially deploy UK bombers to help strike sites.
What's the point?
Well, it's done now. Yeah, this is what Trump said.
What's
that
the
bit's
point
been done.
in all of this? We don't have the capacity for getting involved in this war. All this nonsense about, you know, us being a bad ally to the United States, like as you say, they've done it and the Israelis have done it. We weren't needed. We weren't really consulted. We should have let them use the bases from the start. That's the terms of the agreement that we had, and we should have been in a position to defend those bases ourselves. But the idea that we have any part to play in this is for the birds, frankly. And given what we were talking about earlier on, which is the US pulling resources out of other theatres in order to prop up this campaign, you'd think maybe the UK might be better served, I don't know, focusing on its major sphere of influence, which would be Europe, which would be Russia. Now, the reality is we don't actually have the capacity to do that either. All of this conversation about what we should do in terms of the response to Iran or anybody is ever so slightly academic because, again, Conservatives have got as much to say about this as Labour do. Our armed forces are not in a position really to deploy in any meaningful sense anywhere for any extended period of time. They've been hollowed out over the years. MOD procurement is a basket case. Yeah, let's be clear here. The MOD is not lacking in money. It just spends it appallingly badly. And that's something that government has allowed to just happen.
Some of our soldiers have been deafened by these Ajax tanks that they're
the whole
still
thing should have
going
been
to,
scrapped. They've got no concept of the sunk cost fallacy in the MOD. They just sort of think, keep on going because we've already spent X amount of money, therefore we've got to keep on going with this thing. The Ajax troop transport vehicle, everybody knows it's a boondoggle, everybody knows that it's a waste of money, and yet they have to double down on it. And the fact of the matter is, we're sat here now without enough troops, without enough naval capacity, without enough seamen to actually sort of man any of the ships that we do have. Our nuclear deterrent, does it work? Does it not work? Nobody's sure. We don't have the capacity to test it regularly enough to check whether it does work. Half of the submarines are in port at any one time, not because they are supposed to be, but because they can't be trusted to be put out to sea, which means that the other ones are out for too long, which means that they break down. I'm sorry, like, this is, again, dereliction of the role of a government. A government that will talk about propping up effectively a benefits culture and will talk about rushing through people's applications to stay in this country, to get them on the benefit register as well. A country that prioritises throwing money into a healthcare system that doesn't work and doesn't actually pay attention to the founding thing about why people form states, which is to stop the other people with the big sticks coming in and hitting you.
The defence of the realm. Defence of the realm, where there's energy sufficiency, food security, secure borders.
They have let it rot, and this is as much on the Tories as it is on Labour.
Well, this is not a unique situation, I would argue, in the United Kingdom alone. I would suggest that many European countries are militarily depleted But also, I think many European countries are also quite fearful of engaging with geopolitics in the Middle East due to the high number of people who, in their countries, who have come to live in these European countries, who might be rather upset by engagement in what is going on in Iran. What some people might argue is a fifth column. We certainly have seen evidence of such a thing in the United Kingdom. In fact, Paris today managed to foil a would-be terror attack against the Bank of America in France. And so what situation are we in when it comes to what Tony Blair is saying is a very portentous and concerning alliance between the left wing and Islamism? Let's speak now to Mohammed Amin, who's the director for the Campaign for Shared European Values. Great to have you here, Mohammed. So first of all, let's begin with what Tony Blair has said, which is we've got to end the left's unholy alliance with Islamism in the United Kingdom. I would argue that this is a situation we can also see taking place in countries such as France, especially, perhaps Spain. What is going on here? In terms of Europe's positioning on what to do about, let's just put it more broadly, Islam, we've seen a host of very different policies coming out of countries such as Denmark, Scandinavia, who have decided that they've got to tackle this head on. What should we be looking at doing in the United Kingdom? Should this be of a great concern to us?
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning.
First of all, the big picture as far as Europe is concerned and integration is by far and away the most successful country in Europe when it comes to integration. When you measure things like the progress of children of immigrants through the educational system, their job outcomes, is the United Kingdom. We do it better than everybody else. So the question to be asked is, what can they learn from us?
Wow, there'll be a lot of people at home sitting there whose eyebrows will have shot through the roof, given that everyone's sort of jumping to the conclusion that there has been what could potentially be a terror attack in Derby. Of course, we do not know any details about this yet. We know 7 people have been hospitalised for their injuries, and we know that the perpetrator is a young man of Indian origin. But we have had terror attacks here. We can see that we live in a balkanised society. We have sectarian politics in the United Kingdom today. We have seen what appear to be sleeper cells of the IRGC attacking ambulances that belong to the Jewish community. We have had a report that Press TV, which is the Iranian English language news agency, has essentially been operating in plain sight, pointing out potential targets largely connected to the Jewish community. We have had repeatedly, week after week after week, marches in our streets of cities and towns across the United Kingdom with people calling to globalise the intifada. It doesn't really look like the Elysian fields, the sunlit uplands of integrated utopia to me. So suggesting that the rest of Europe can look at the United Kingdom and go, wow, look, they're doing super well. What's the special medicine? To me, is quite curious.
Well, first of all, what I said earlier wasn't just based on my sort of personal views. That was based on a very detailed report from The Economist newspaper about a year ago. You can get your research people to go and look it up. And The Economist is not one of these sort of soft-headed newspapers. It's hard, it's right-wing, it's economically centrist. It's not these are not lefties talking. So whether you want to like that message or not, that is what The Economist is saying.
Okay.
They're backing it up with data.
The Economist is a newspaper. I prefer things that are sort of data points that are directly from intensive, deep research. But what I'm talking about, we haven't addressed it yet. We're not talking about this between us right now, Mohammed, and it's what I want to talk about, which is without a doubt there are people who have come from various waves of immigration, who speak our language, who work in shops, factories, the NHS, research scientists, you know, across all walks of life, and that, I suppose, could be chalked up as a success story. But to pretend that there aren't other people who don't speak the language, who don't share Western values, who quite frankly hate our culture, who are shouting political slogans on the street entirely at odds with the British and Western way of life, that isn't a success story. And a lot of people listening to this will look at those things and think they're deeply alarmed by what is happening in the United Kingdom. That is what I want to discuss with you, and looking especially, and I started off by asking about how concerned we should be, should we share Tony Blair's views that we have to end the left's unholy alliance with Islamists?
Well, coming back to Tony Blair's article, which I read a couple of times, even though Tony Blair is generally quite unpopular in Britain these days, most of what he says in his article I agree with. There are lots of people on the left who are quite rightly very concerned about the way that Israel has conducted its war in Gaza, but who find themselves unable to condemn Hamas.
Well, no, we're not talking, I don't want to talk about Israel and Gaza, OK? That wasn't my question.
What that is what Tony Blair was talking about in his article. That's where he
Tony Blair, in his article, says that we mustn't diminish use of the words such as genocide, particularly aimed at Jewish memories of the Holocaust, which was a genocide. So actually, he seems to diverge a little bit on that one. What I want to ask you, Mohammed, please, is it fair to say that we have people from various countries, or indeed born here, part of the Muslim faith, who don't like our way of life, who seem to be at odds with Western values, who potentially pose us a threat, and are now trying to prosecute their own agenda in UK politics?
Well, of course, we have seen terrorist attacks in the UK. The 7th of July 2005, we saw several terrorist attacks in 2017. Undoubtedly, there is an issue. The question is, how big is that issue, and what is the best policy for dealing with that issue?
And what do you think is how? Could you answer though your own question for me? Do you have a sort of way of weighing up how much of a threat this poses to us and what we should be doing to prevent it? Because we, as the United Kingdom, are not the ones in Gaza. We are not Israel. We are a completely separate nation. But what we are seeing play out on our streets is geopolitically fuelled, theocratically fuelled, religiously fuelled, culturally fuelled antagonism, which is at odds, quite frankly, with the Western way of life.
You asked me what we should do. Let me explain what we should do. First of all, what we are doing, which is our security services have been really good at finding and addressing these plots, which is why we haven't had more people killed. Secondly, we need to promote social cohesion. We need to make sure that more people understand that there are two great religions in the world, far ahead of any other, Christianity and Islam. We need to stop attacking Muslims for being Muslim and making it very clear the distinction between these Islamist extremists and the overwhelming majority of British Muslims who do care about things like Israel's conduct in Gaza, but are in no way extremist. And when people on the right try to blur those two together, they are harming our country.
Well, could you tell me then the distinction? How do we identify the Islamists from the peacenik Muslims who are integrated? And what should the Muslim community be doing to contribute to this effort to weed out the wrong-uns and have British people feel more at peace with various communities?
Yes. First of all, if you want to know the distinctions, I recommend a book which I didn't write, but I was heavily involved in its writing, which is a book called The Genealogy of Terror, How to Distinguish Between Islam, Islamism, and Islamist Extremism, because it's really important to get these distinctions right. And Prime Minister David Cameron, for example, was always very good at making it a clear distinction between Islam and Islamist extremism, and it's important not to blur those things together, which many commentators on the right of our politics, unfortunately, often tend to do.
OK, but no, what I want that my
so
question,
if you want to really understand the distinctions, you need to engage with the details. I strongly recommend you get your research team
OK, look, I'm asking you, you're my guest here. I haven't got time right now in the next few minutes to imbibe an entire tome that you have just recommended. What I did ask you, though, and I'll repeat the question, is what should the Muslim community do to try and assuage some of the fears that people have in this country, fears that I would say have been borne out because we've had terror attacks, because a load of ambulances have been set on fire, because we've had people chanting hateful slogans on our speech. You cannot expect Brits to sit there and go, oh, well, that's fine. We must be the bad people if this is worrying us. What should the Muslim community be doing?
What the Muslim community should be doing is what it's already doing. Things like the Ramadan Tent Project, where we hold iftars around the country, invite non-Muslims to take part in these iftars. There was one in Trafalgar Square a week ago. It went extremely well, and then Nick Timothy MP chose to attack it because the Muslims prayed in public. That's an example of Muslims doing everything right and then being attacked for
Well,
it.
why is it then that a lot of Middle Eastern countries ban big Muslim mass prayers? Because they think that it is connected to Islamism rather than Islam.
When you say Middle East countries ban Muslim mass prayers, I'm not aware of them banning mass prayers at all.
The UAE have been quite vocal about this and what happened in the United Kingdom. Shows of religiosity en masse in the public domain. A lot of people, understandably, humans are tribal animals, okay? A lot of people out there saw that and rather than think, oh, great, this is a show of peace, I want to go and join them, read that. And this isn't because people have fed them that information. It is a normal human reaction. To read that as looking very much like an alien culture or showing an assertiveness. And you cannot rewire people's brains away from that sort of biological response that people have because we're a social animal, because we're a tribal animal.
Large numbers of non-Muslims did attend that iftar, took part, shared the iftar experience with their sort of Muslim friends, and that is how you make progress. That is how you unite our society, not by then attacking Muslims.
So we unite our society by ordinary Brits joining Muslim prayer. Essentially, ordinary Brits, what, becoming Muslims? That's how we unite?
Well, first of all, you're welcome to become Muslim if you want to, but you don't have to. And they don't. Muslims, non-Muslims, when they attend an iftar, don't join the prayers because they're not Muslims, but they take part in the experience. They join in the food. They talk to the people who are there. That's how you build cohesion.
Mohammed, thank you ever so much for sharing your time with us this morning. Mohammed Amin, Director for the Campaign for Shared European Values. Benedict, there are a number of times my little eyes glanced over to your corner of the studio and saw various facial responses. Would you care to translate those into words?
I'm really sorry. It's because I couldn't hear everything he was saying.
Oh,
because
gosh,
I was trying to get the earpiece to work and I was getting snippets of it. Yeah. And the snippets that I were getting were slightly frustrating because I couldn't hear the full sentence. I kind of understand what was going on based on your responses. But yeah, sadly,
so Mohammed was essentially saying the right wing have pushed a narrative that fails to draw this distinction between Islam and Islamism.
Okay.
And also, and I said, well, people are concerned about the things they're seeing on their streets. What should the Muslim community do? And he flagged the mass prayer, the iftar in Trafalgar Square, as a show of community cohesion because we could have gone along and joined in. And I said to him, well, hang about. A lot of people saw that in completely the opposite way, not because they've been fed that, because that's the natural human response to see an alien culture come in and do something en masse, religiosity en masse that isn't the state religion, that isn't the cultural positioning in this country, and find that assertiveness alarming.
I think part of the problem is that when people do point out the issues with Islamism in this country, actually great swathes of the Muslim community close ranks and see it as an attack on all of them. I don't think you can necessarily sit there and go, oh, well, it's the right that are just sort of, assuming that it's all one and the same. The default response to any pointing out, any criticism of this outgroup is basically to go, well, that makes you a racist or an Islamophobe. It's that immediate sort of response to try and shut down any and all criticism and any or all conversation about this. And I think that's a really important thing to say here. I'm sure, there are many people who are overtly critical of Islam, not just Islamism, and I'm more than happy to conflate the two. But it does go both ways. And if you're going to sit there and say, well, they do that, yeah, but on the other hand, a lot of Muslims just sit there and go, all of this is prejudice against.
His solution to the problem seemed to be, well, come and join our club. No, you're in our country, you join our club.
I mean, the thing is, it's also, it's quite an exclusive club. It's not actually a club that is completely open to all. And we know this by the fact that in certain mosques, people are segregated by gender and things like that. And I would genuinely say, do people actually think, for instance, that members of the Jewish community in this country would be welcome to go to any kind of Muslim prayer group or so? No, clearly not. That's a large part of the reason why we see such an uptick in anti-Semitism in this country. It's because a lot of ordinary Muslims, not just Islamists, have particularly interesting views about Jewish people that are not shared by the majority in this country.
I'm afraid I find personally the idea that the best way to create integration is for the British folk to go along and become more Muslim themselves, go along along to mosques, join iftar, join prayers, have food, and say, isn't Islam a wonderful religion? I think that that is, again, inverting, an inversion of what should be happening. What should be happening is the host nation plays the dominant role. You want to practice your religion privately, crack on, but actually, when it comes to integrating, you integrate with us, not vice versa.
Yeah, I think that this country is moving. It is. Lots of people say that it's a Christian country, but it is moving very clearly in a secular direction. And I think if we are doing that, I don't think it's unfair to say actually we shouldn't be having moments of mass worship in places like Trafalgar Square for anybody. And I'm actually okay with that. There's no. I'm sorry. There's not a shortage of churches in this country.
I want the bells to ring out. Ring those cathedral bells every Sunday. I want to hear a peal of bells across the country.
I'm going to say this as a cradle Catholic. There are an awful lot of very performative religious people on the right who've suddenly found a version of Catholicism. I don't see them going to Mass very often.
No.
I've got to be... And the thing is, even when they do the whole rigmarole. It's all part of the performance. It's not actually about the religion. They're using it as a kind of a shield, to sort of say that theirs is a culture that can be asserted. But equally, Catholicism has not been the main culture of this country for a very long time. They're taking it because they think it's a much more austere or muscular version of Christianity than the Church of England is. And to be clear, that's because the Church of England has decided it doesn't really want to be a religion anymore.
Well,
it's decided it wants to be a sort of a community support group, which, listen, you guys, you crack on, you do that. That's up for you. But, the weird way in which people are now taking Christianity in this country and trying to use it on the one hand, the Church of England going, oh, well, we're all just going to sit here and sing Kumbaya, and actually we're just sort of a version of Alcoholics Anonymous for people who are very, upset and worried about things. And on the other hand, you have people who are going, well, that doesn't really work for me, so I'm going to join the Catholic Church and then become more pious than the Pope. It's a really weird response. And the whole time, the churches are still sitting empty. That's the big takeaway. Nobody's doing the great religious thing that they say that they're doing.
I think we need to get more bell ringers trained up, personally. I would love to hear peals of bells on a Sunday, filling our cities and towns.
For that, you need a working bell foundry, which I don't think we have anymore.
Well, OK, we've got to take a break, but thank you, Benedict Spence, for staying on a little bit extra, despite all the issues we may have had with you being able to pick up bits and bobs of the audio. Right, you guys, you're not going anywhere. We may dispatch Benedict back into the wilds, but you have to stay put. Put the kettle on, and I'll be back just after this.
Welcome to Down the Local, the show that goes from pub to pub across the country, speaking to the punters about the subjects driving us all nuts at the moment.
That's Rachel Reeves, Rachel Thieves, Rachel McCown.
I don't really know Meghan Markle. I know Meghan Markle's from Sinks, and that's about it.
I don't know about anyone else, and I don't know where this is going. I have 0% beers, and I feel
Raising the flag, I think, is symptomatic of this desperation.
Is public transport good value for money?
No, it isn't.
You really don't like speaking to people.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh, good one, Dave. Top Cat was cool because he was a cat. All cats are cool, are they not? But yeah, let's do some of your messages now and then hit up the calls. Let's go back to the beginnings. Haven't really done many messages today. What a lot of people have not realised about the hypnotist, of course you're talking about Zach Polanski, is that he is Jewish, but he is trying to win the votes from anti-Jewish groups, including the Muslim votes. He is an embarrassment to the Jewish community and a hypocrite at his core. Matthew from Cheltenham. The PM softening immigration is another way of buying votes, says Bill from Romsey. I think the thing is he can't get those votes back now. This is what's so alarming. The presence of the Green Party will drag the Labour Party ever left, but it ain't going to get rid of the Green Party. The Greens could end up propping up Labour in 2029. You cannot underestimate how significant it will be for Starmer to be replaced by a lefty leader. He will suck the lefty vote from the hypnotist, which will open the doors nationwide for a reform win in 2029, says Matthew in Cheltenham. Well, fingers crossed it does split the left vote and then sends them into oblivion, but a coalition of the left, they're very good at doing this. The right wing are terrible at forming coalitions. The left wing across the West have been very good at creating super coalitions because they don't mind things going radical. I attended the Reform UK event at Ardingly on Wednesday and saw the brilliant Dr. David Bull, Zia Yusuf and Nigel Farage give really inspiring speeches. Also, there was a Chagosian contingent and I just had to go over and speak to them and wish them good luck. It was great to see them all, says Carol in Shoreham by Sea. Tony in Milan says, I think you need to work your magic on the sisterhood. It is a fact that females are more likely to lean left. Indeed, it is, despite them trying to destroy your freedoms by allowing men to invade your space, allowing the importation of men who threaten your safety, and despite the left indoctrinating your children with beliefs that would lead to the destruction of their future. This, Tony in Milan, is indeed the irony of all of it. The people who are going to suffer as an end result of radical leftism will be women, and the people most likely to support it are women. I do my best. The difference between Conservatives and Labour eco-idiots is that Labour poured concrete deliberately so we can never use anything again, says Joanna in Salisbury. Well, this is what they're doing with the indefinite leave to remain. It's a bit like the swan song of a dying government suddenly goes, what can we do that will leave permanent damage? We've got to get rid of the changes to indefinite leave to remain. We've got to concrete over the North Sea. It is all very well saying, let's not do any more drilling. We better make sure that becomes nigh on impossible. Morning, Petal, says John in Lincolnshire. As usual, no straight answers from a politician. They wonder why people simply don't vote. That must be regarding Kevin Hollinrake. Stephen in London says Hollinrake is just another wishy-washy, maybe-ism politician, nothing decisive or firm, no action, watching around the corner for anyone who heard him. Who could be offended. What a wet, says Stephen. I think we did actually manage to elicit some candour from him eventually, but I do think that no one, and I level this charge against Reform UK as well, nobody seems to be able to say comprehensively what we would do about foreign affairs and defence. I'm waiting. Seems like a critical issue to me. Alex, you seem to like criticising the Tories' policy on Iran. Could you outline reforms? There you go, Neil. Exactly. I don't think... Reform have various shadow people. They don't have a shadow foreign affairs spokesperson, and I don't, like I said, I think all of but the only parties who seem to have a very clear position on geopolitics are people like the Greens, who basically say end to all wars, don't detain terrorists, kind of the exact opposite of what I would like to see happen. But they're the only people who seem to be actually speaking with vigour about what they think the new world order should look like. There is no point in us even discussing the UK getting involved in foreign wars when we can't even defend our own borders. We are a joke. Well, that as well. Let's speak now to Laura Jane, who is in Hampshire. Good morning to you, Laura Jane.
Good morning. I don't know whether Benedict can hear me. Do you think he's walking out until...
Benedict has left the building, unfortunately.
No, I know, but presumably the talk radio has a sort of loudspeaker in the dressing rooms and everywhere, and I'm hoping he can hear me. And I'm hoping he's on his way to Mass, because clearly he's a fellow Catholic. Mine was at 9 o'clock this morning, and he'll know what I mean when I say, is he on his way to Farm Street? That will make sense to a... But the thing I'm being flippant, but the thing I'm not agreeing with him is the fact that the churches are empty. The Catholic churches are not empty. They're full to the brim. Ours is always full. And opposite, I'm in a village in Hampshire, is the Anglican church. And yes, the Anglican church is less busy, shall we say. And it's a great pity that we don't join forces. And most of the churches we built at the time of Henry VIII, we could jolly well help support them and have churches come together, and we would use those buildings, because a lot of the Catholic churches are now huts on the side of the road, literally. And anyway, I also just want to know what he means by people joining the Catholics and not, doing it as a sort of I don't know, a sort of look at me kind of thing. And again, this Saturday in Holy Week, there are a whole bunch of new Catholics, and I have met several of them, and I can tell you they're doing it from the bottom of their heart.
I tend to agree with you. I keep hearing this naysaying, like, well, the pews are empty, the church is pointless, who needs the church anyway? And I look at the church that I go to, Holy Trinity Brompton, which is just behind the Brompton Oratory, and it's like trying to get into Fabric nightclub in the 90s. You have to turn up at 10 in the morning for the 11:30 service if you want to be anywhere near the main church building. It is heaving. They have multiple services on a Sunday. They're planting churches across the capital. When I'm in Gloucestershire, not in London, I go to a church in Gloucester, which is of a similar bent. I like a bit of modern church myself. Again, they're planting churches. They're having to open multiple new branches with multiple services because you just can't get in anymore. I think that what's going on out there is completely the opposite of what some people are saying. I think the church is in a huge period of growth, and I would love to see... Benedict was just saying to me before he left, actually, that the former bell foundry in London is being converted into flats because no one's making church bells anymore. Church bells are in a state of disrepair. And I would love, as a sort of former amateur campanologist myself, when I was at school, I did learn a bit of bell ringing, and it's blimmin' difficult, can I just say. I would love to hear the bells ringing out across the United Kingdom on a Sunday. It is a beautiful sound. It is inherent to our culture and heritage, and it reminds us the nation that we live in. Except, if you tried to find someone who knew how to read the bell campanology music, it's blimmin' difficult. Again, from the 1st of April, which is in a few days' time, the VAT exemption that used to be enjoyed by churches on conducting their repairs is being stripped away. Meanwhile, the government has given £10 million to mosques. That is official government statistics. And I want to see our religion, our churches, being the thing that is funded, not the other religion that isn't native to this country.
Yes, Alex. By the way, we have bell ringing practice on a Monday evening, and there are ladies in that group, and then they ring the bells. The Anglican service is at 11 o'clock. So when we come out of Mass in the morning, we hear the bells ringing to welcome the Anglicans to church. But having said that, you are right. The VAT exemption is being taken away, and our poor vicar is... I don't know how they're going to manage, because there is more of an elderly community in there. And it's the same for the Catholic Church. The one in Winchester has luckily managed to do a whole load of repairs before the 1st of April. But it is a crime.
I'll tell you what, Laura Jane, if I was somehow, someday in the future, the Culture Secretary, I would radically increase funding to churches. I would protect all church buildings in the United Kingdom. They'd not be allowed to be turned into flats, let alone own mosques. I would encourage investment into reopening the Bell Foundry, and I would suggest that as part of the school curriculum, rather than kids being taught how to kneel down on a prayer mat and face Mecca, I would suggest that they all go and have a go at pulling the Sally on a bell, because that is our culture. That is what we should be defending. Lord knows the National Trust want to decolonise, want to focus more on other cultures. No. All of these things, the structures between preserving and celebrating our culture needs an entire overhaul. And it is about time, whether people are believers or not, that we brought back a little bit of God into this country, because my word, when you take him out of the equation, the things that fill that vacuum, the neo-religions of pronouns and climate change, do not serve us well at all. Laura Jane, thank you ever so much for your call. OK, we're going to be taking a short break. If you want to join the conversation, you know what the numbers are by now, but if you don't, let me repeat. 0344 499 1000 is the number if you'd like to give Tommy Tiptoes a call and leave your number, and we'll give you a call back. It's your normal network rate, so it doesn't really cost you anything. You can also use that number to send me a WhatsApp message or leave me a voice note on WhatsApp. 8722 is the number if you'd rather send a text message. If you do that, write the word talk before you write your text. Thank you ever so much, and I'll see you ever so shortly.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun.
Who's that famous Welsh songster that we can hear in the background? Ah, that's right. It's Tom Jones. But it isn't this Tom Jones, who happens to be the Deputy Online Editor of The Critic magazine and Conservative Councillor for Scotton and Lower Wensleydale. You loved it, didn't you? We set that up just for you. What a marvellous waistcoat you have. Well, it's a gilet, actually.
Yes, it is a gilet, I'm afraid.
Oh, you're looking resplendent there, Tom. Did you enjoy that?
Do you want me to lie and say yes?
I could tell by your head in hands gesture as we brought you into vision that you've had enough for the whole of your life of Tom Jones quips. Now, let's talk. Just before the break, I was moaning about the fact that we denigrate the church constantly. The church itself seems to go down this sort of strange politicised route of jumping on the bandwagon of every sort of new ideology that often is in juxtaposition with Christian belief. But what I would like to see is investment from this country into preserving churches, reopening the Bell Foundry, teaching children about campanology. I want to hear the peal of bells ring out across London, across Leicester, across Coventry, wherever those bells might have been hung up for good. And it seems to me this government are doing the exact opposite. What are your thoughts on this? Is it about time that we just ditched the whole religion game and went, let's have nothing? Let's just be an entirely secular society? Should we say that we are multi-religious and celebrate them all? Or should we actually show preferential treatment for Christianity?
Well, I think one of the interesting things is, of course, if we are going to keep a church attached to the state, then really it has to be the Church of England. But whenever I think of the Church of England, I always think of this fantastic line from Alec Ryry's book Protestants, which is that any church that marries the spirit of the age will soon find itself a widow. Frankly, the Church of England has really backed itself into a corner with people by just becoming another institutional vehicle for insane woke progressive policies. I remember I went to York actually for the Remembrance Day service, and half of the sermon at York was actually about Nigel Farage and divisive policies about immigrants. And I came away thinking, I will never come back to this church because I just found it distasteful that I would go into a Remembrance Day service and hear a political lecture. But that's what people keep getting, not exclusively, obviously, but people keep going to the church. They keep getting these woke progressive lectures and they keep not returning, and the church keeps doubling down.
I couldn't agree more, quite frankly. It saddens me. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Let's talk now about Sir Keir Starmer, who it seems is sort of being caught up in the maelstrom on the left of his party in the rise of the Greens, and it's suggesting he might soften his immigration reforms. And this is specifically about indefinite leave to remain, where Shabana Mahmood had said, look, we might apply this retrospectively, you have to have been in the country for much longer if you want to stay here on a permanent basis. But he's getting it in the ear from his backbenchers, and it seems to me that the minute the Labour Party start talking tough and Shabana Mahmood says, oh, we're going to do X, Y and Z, well, it's all open, vacuous promises, because they're not going to do it, they're not going to deliver it, because it's not in the party's DNA. And so what we could end up with is even more people from the Boris wave staying here forever and a day, and the radical change to the United Kingdom's demography. What do you make of this? What, do you think he's going to bottle it, and how's that going to impact us?
Yes, I actually do suspect he's going to bottle it. So the reforms we're talking about are basically specifically to tackle the Boris wave, which is such a tremendously awful wave of migration, obviously not Labour's fault, is such a tremendously awful wave of immigration that it requires a specific change. And so what Shabana Mahmood was looking at doing was changing the rules on eligibility on indefinite leave to remain for people already in the country from 5 to 10 years, as well as some other changes. That was the big change. Now, Angela Rayner came out against that after the Gorton and Denton by-election, signed a letter with 100 Labour MPs, basically saying that it was unfair to move goalposts for people who were already in the country. And that arguing that kind of retrospectively changing the terms constituted a breach of trust. Now, that has basically been repeated by Starmer in an interview with the Daily Mirror, who has said people want clear rules, but they want compassionate and fair rules. Fair to who is what I would point out there. So it sounds like he's much closer to Rayner's line than Mahmood's on this. So I think the indication is there. He thinks he can't weather the potential backbench rebellion on this.
But the problem is that when the left have their swan song, they always do things with an eye on permanence, don't they? Because if they suddenly decide to say, right, we're not going to retrospectively apply this, then that means the millions who've come over, it's about 5 million, isn't it, since the scourge of Boris Johnson, could well just now be permanent British citizens. But then on the other hand, I actually do have a degree of sympathy with not applying things retrospectively. Some of my best friends are a Turkish family who I lived next to in Earl's Court for a very, very long time. They've been here for about, they've been here for actually over 7 years, but because their visas changed in that period of time, it resets the clock. Their son has only ever really known school in the United Kingdom, and they are terrified now that they wanted to apply for indefinite leave to remain, and if this gets imposed retrospectively, they won't be able to. And this couple are sort of more British than the vast majority of people on the blimmin' socialist anti-right-wing march the other day. And so there is part of me which thinks the problem is when you do start having to try and put things into place retrospectively, you end up with a significant amount of collateral damage, and sometimes that isn't fair.
No, that's very true. And I think one of the things that we do have to pull out of this debate is that, it's not these people's fault, basically, that they were allowed to come into the country, frankly, when they shouldn't have been. It was an insane government policy. But we are talking about such a huge, not only demographic, but financial change. I think the Home Office calculates that the foreign care workers who came in under the Boris wave alone, as well as their dependents, will cost the state nearly £10 billion in benefits. And that's only about 200,000. So we are talking about absolutely enormous changes, and we are talking about such vast costs and such a vast demographic shift that really, I don't think we can afford to pull out individual stories here, because we do have to consider this essentially in quantitative rather than qualitative terms.
Look, I tend to agree with that one as well. Everyone might know the story of somebody who this would negatively affect, but if you start going down those wormholes, you'd never end up making any government policy ever. But what is it then that, let's say we've got 3 more years of Labour. I keep thinking that they were going to be gone very soon, but I'm now worried that isn't going to happen. It's going to be extremely difficult for whoever inherits this country to repair some of that damage. To me, I think it's probably permanent damage. Am I wrong in thinking that? Is there a way that the clock could metaphorically be wound back, that we could undo the Johnson wave, that we could actually start seeing a demographic shift in the other direction? Or is that for the birds? Do we have to, as a society now, just sort of try and find ease with the notion that we're a bit more like America now? The idea that we are a sort of, Christian, fully British, monocultural nation. That might have been the case in the 1950s, but we're never going to go back there.
I think if it's not solved now, it's very, very, very difficult to see how things change. Now, basically, what will happen is a lot of these people will receive indefinite leave to remain. A lot of them will become citizens. And at that point, if you want to reverse the Boris wave or undo the damage, you are having to talk about basically stripping people of British citizenship, which is I don't think that is a place that the British people really want to go to. And so really, I think it is now or never for this immigration wave. It's very, very difficult to see how even a reform government, who are obviously going to be a lot tougher on migration, it's very difficult to see how they are going to solve this either.
No, I know this is a problem. I think that politically, even if you just look at it through the lens of realpolitik, I don't think Starmer could get through Mahmoud's plans, even if he wanted to, because his own backbenchers just wouldn't support him. Unless, of course, he had the spine to go and court opposition parties and try and seek their support. Even then, I think it's numerically stacked against him. And so there we are. The 11th hour is upon us, and we seem to be making all the wrong choices. Tom Jones, thank you ever so much for joining us, Deputy Online Editor of The Critic magazine. OK, we're taking a short break. Don't go anywhere, because I want to speak to some of you after this, and let's just let's get in the mood for a bit of rest of the weekend. It's Sunday, it's roast dinner, it's Formula One on catch-up, and more importantly, it's Weird Hour coming up at 12 o'clock. So we're going to try and sort of gear shift now and bring the joy and the delight and the entertainment so you don't end your week on a low note. In fact, actually, as a Christian, Sunday is the first day of the week. So let's start as we mean to go on. That's coming up just after this.
Welcome to Down the Local, the show that goes from pub to pub across the country, speaking to the punters about the subjects driving us all nuts at the moment.
That's Rachel Reeves, Rachel Thieves, Rachel McCounts.
I don't really know Meghan Markle. I know Meghan Markle's from Sinks, and that's about it.
I don't know about anyone else, and I don't know where this is going. I have 0% beard, and I feel
Raising the flag, I think, is symptomatic of its desperation.
Is public transport good value for money?
No, it isn't.
You really don't like speaking to people.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Very nautical scene we're having. Is that pugwash? There, I thought so. You know, there's so much mythology around pugwash and names of characters and things that I think have just been applied retrospectively, a bit like the cuts to indefinite leave to remain, that didn't ever really happen. But there you go. What happened? Children's television in the 80s was just sublime. Wasn't it brilliant? I don't know. Nowadays, I don't understand the whole Peppa Pig thing. It looks like it's a cartoon drawn by someone who's got impaired vision. The characters aren't remotely likeable. It's banal, it's ugly, and yet the kids seem to love it. I'm like, what about the good old days of the Golden Condor and Cities of Gold? And what does anyone remember? Bertha. Bertha was chef's kiss. And the Telebugs, although that kind of was a bit woke, the Telebugs. It was all about sort of saving the environment. They basically is just stop oil in robot's form. Although my favourite character, the Telebugs, was called Zudo. And he'd say, evil, okay. And he just seemed to love going and covering everything in oil. My kind of robot, that one. Anyway, I digress. Let us do some messages, some voice notes, some calls. Wow, we got a packed lot of engagement going on. Shall we do voice notes first? Let's hear from Lynn.
It occurs to me that even if they claim the data is lost regarding WhatsApp messages, there will still be data on where the phone was, and that can be tracked historically, from what I understand. So it might be interesting to see where the phone was when they made the claim that it got stolen. Anyway, I'll leave that with you, Lynn. Bye.
Thanks, Lynn. We are, of course, talking about the mystery missing Morgan McSweeney mobile. And, well, apparently he sort of, you know, when it was reported as stolen, he basically got it all switched off so it couldn't be, you know, tracked and this, because it's very sensitive. I mean, look, at some point, the truth will out, one assumes, because if we do have some of the best intelligence services in the world. Of that, I do believe our intelligence services are brilliant. And so if they're able to foil terror plots on almost a weekly basis, surely they can find that device, or at least have a better idea of whether it really was stolen. Let's have a listen to Kelvin.
Good morning, Alex. If this government ever started conscription, I just want all these young ones, before they ever sign up, take a good look around them on the streets. Look at all the veterans living on the streets in plastic bags and cardboard boxes. And you've got people arguing with us who say that the migrants don't live in luxury. Of course they bloody live in luxury. They're in posh hotels and HMOs where it's nice and warm, free meals a day and everything else they get for bloody free. You know, they haven't fought for this country, but they get everything. While I would live in plastic bags and cardboard boxes on the streets. It's appalling. When the fight starts in this country, will the left wing, because they're the ones who seem to want them all here, will the left wing fight for this country, or will they run off and hide under the beds? I think they'll do that. They've just got no gumption at all, have they? They can't see what's coming. When the war starts in this country, it'll be the left or the right wing to fight everybody, the left to be gone. Bye.
Yeah, they are feckless, they are self-indulgent. The very people they demean and denigrate and demonise are exactly the men who will stand up and put their lives on the line to protect exactly the people you're talking about. It sickens me to the bone, and don't forget, this is the government who also are conducting a witch hunt against our veterans in the courts of law. It is disgusting. Let's hear now from Kat.
It's Kat from Scarborough here. Keir Starmer needs to get a backbone and start looking after our country instead of letting other people in it for us. We need now to start talking Restore Britain.
Oh, we need to restore Britain, but I'm not sure that would be the right vehicle to do it via. But Sir Keir Starmer just needs to go. It's too late for that man to grow any sort of backbone. He's a socialist. He's a socialist. Don't buy into the idea that he can suddenly have a sort of frontal lobal transplant and become sensible, for crying out loud. Let's hear from Bridget.
Good morning, Alex. Some great show. It's Bridget here in France. Wife, actually, of Colin, who sent you a message yesterday. We are in the Livradois Forez National Park, about an hour south of Clermont-Ferrand, big rugby country. A far cry, Alex, from London, where I lived for 20 years before we moved here. I watched that protest or rally or whatever they want to call it yesterday until my stomach really couldn't take anymore, especially watching that those useful idiots for the Islamists, Polanski and Spencer. My God, I can't believe these people are actually in a political party. How London has changed and how sad. It was a great place. I loved London, my second home. Sadly, not anymore, and I am happy to be living here, Alex. Anyway, you have a great show. Bye for now.
Oh, thanks, Bridge. You've got a spare room. I love Clermont-Ferrand. It's a beautiful part of France. Although, if you know, when you talk about ghettoisation, France has a lot of that, probably worse than us, in fact. But the French police, they don't mess about when it comes to dealing with protests, do they? Oh, no. The French police still do proper policing, I would argue. Right, now, brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. I can see him through the glass. It's Mabeza. It's the man of my Sundays. It's Mr. Paul Cox. He's going to be sitting there and we're going to be bringing you the fun just after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
I love it. Do you know what, Paul? I've literally just started watching The X-Files for the first time.
See, I can't remember watching much of it in the 90s. Obviously, I remember Mulder and Scully.
Yeah.
And I do remember, I think it was on a Thursday night on like Sky One or something.
Oh, that's why I wouldn't have watched it. This is why I didn't watch television, because we barely had it. My parents were like, no, we're going to, just climb on the roof every now and then and wiggle the aerial about.
Only the posh kids had Sky when I was growing up.
You sound like Rishi Sunak. Do you remember when he said that?
Yeah.
That was almost like his gambit. Make me Prime Minister. We didn't have Sky. It's like, oh, well, one of us now, aren't you?
They chose not to, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They decided to do French instead. Or whatever they were doing.
Oh, bless him. Sunak, man. I miss him. Why did we get rid of him?
He seems relatively sensible now, doesn't he? I was having this conversation the other day. Remember when everyone thought that George W. Bush was mental? Right now, he seems like an intellectual by comparison to everything that's out there.
It is so true. I don't understand the world today. I've got a great one for you.
Great.
Apparently, there's been a massive heist that's taken place. It's going to spark shortages this Easter.
Well, the thing is, this is the Kit Kat story.
This is
isn't it?
Kit Kats. 400,000.
But it says there's going to be a shortage, but they've gone somewhere. Someone hasn't stolen this for their own eating, have they? You'll be able to go and see Big Trev down the market and he'll sort you out a bundle. That's
Black market Kit Kat.
Yeah, who doesn't want those?
But how did this work? This is what I want to know, because in all of this, it doesn't really tell us what the heist involves.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't
a stolen truck, here we go. It's left a factory in central Italy, making its way to Poland. So did people just sort of jump out of bushes with like machine guns and like hold up the Kit Kat?
Hang on, are these European Union Kit Kats?
I know, isn't it shocking?
So Nestle, I assume, is French because Swiss.
So that'd be non-EU, but clearly made in the EU.
Yeah, the neutral Swiss. Although they did support the Nazis.
I love it. 12:05 and the word Nazi has entered the conversation.
Just not aimed at Hitler at all for the first time. So it's a Swiss company. The chocolate's made in Italy, and the shipment was going to Poland.
Yeah.
So it's not going to affect me at all.
Yeah, but I reckon it goes to Poland to then have something else done to it before it comes here.
I didn't vote for Brexit so that my Kit Kats would come from Italy via Poland to my shops.
When I lived in Manchester, I actually lived downwind of the McVitie's factory.
Did you? What was
and
that
it was so lovely,
really?
But also torturous. You know, like people say when you want to sell your home, like either light one of those sort of candles that smell of cake, or put a bun in the oven. That's got a different connotation. I need to move out. This house is going to be too small. But living downwind of the McVitie's factory, it's like wafts of loveliness, like cartoon wafts, the little sort of wiggly lines. They were visibly almost travelling through the sky, and you'd open your front door and be like, and then you'd immediately go, well, that's my diet ruined.
Portsmouth used to have a Smith's Crisps factory.
So that's hard to say.
Smith's Crisps, which became Walkers. Do you remember Smiths?
No, I thought Smiths was still. Are they part of Walkers now? Because they're bacon.
Well, you can still get
fries
Smiths
and
in like
fries.
certain like chipsticks or whatever. What were they called? The salt and vinegar.
Yeah. There's salt and shake.
Frazzles may still be Smiths.
No, I thought Smiths were the bacon fries and the scampi fries, which are now even more ubiquitous in pubs than before. I see them everywhere.
I like both.
I want to start a campaign to bring back cheese moments.
Cheese moments.
They only lasted a moment.
Oh, wow.
They were good.
That would definitely be my stage name.
So what did it smell like, though? Like the combination of scampi fries and bacon fries?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it wasn't
dog
great.
Foodie.
I worked in in Bourneville in Birmingham, I don't know. I'm doing all this. I'm going to make it important.
What was the thing that you loved? It's like there's some sort of special thing that your little hand gesture. I'm glad that thing's come back. I was missing that.
Oh my God, what's wrong with me? I used to work in the old Cadbury's factory. The Cadbury's is still there.
Did you?
But I never worked in Cadbury's. It was actually a data centre for an IT project I was working on.
I love the fact that you've worked at like Portland Down,
I know.
seen the sort of five-eyed rabbits, been doing your weird data from the chocolate factory. Like, what are you?
Well, a comedian now, but only for 10 years. Before that, I was anything. I studied, my degree's in electronics. I know. Mental. I I couldn't believe it myself. It's just somebody, the company I was working for at the time said, do you want to do this qualification? And I went, yeah.
I'll get a bit of electronics under
and
my
then
belt.
someone said, oh, you won't be able to do it because you're a bit stupid.
Yeah.
So I literally, someone actually said this to me, I literally did a whole qualification, 4 years of education, just to prove that bloke wrong.
I'm beginning to think, actually, that you know, I was just reading about how the IRGC have set up Press TV to be their mouthpiece.
Oh, really?
And they're sort of, using the broadcasting waves to influence people to go and do things. And I'm beginning to think, with your Porton Down Chocolate Factory cyber hacking international man of mystery backstory, that you're not who you say you are.
I might not be.
That you come here and you're sort of, sending out.
Imagine if I wasn't. Imagine if I'm in the IRGC.
Oh, my
This is just get to Alex via Weird Hour. Can you imagine? Got everything we need on Alex now.
I'm beginning to think that this was you, the Kit Kat guys, that you sort of somewhere from the chocolate factory.
Can you imagine me going back?
Sending out the messages to where the truck was located.
Every Monday morning I go back to HQ going, look, it's all just 90s kids programmes and some of our friends from the pub. I've got no intelligence for you. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, my friends at the pub haven't delivered me enough weirdness of late. Although there was a really great story the other day that in my neighbourhood no one locks their doors. And
that's safe.
Because proper little village, and we'd been at the pub, and then everyone was coming back to mine because it sort of rotates around. People just decide where the non-pub next pub is going to be, and everyone was sort of filed in. And all of a sudden, one of my neighbour's dogs was sort of running around, and everyone's just going, "All right, okay." And then someone's like, "Well, if that's his dog, where is he?" We opened the front door to find what I can only describe as him beetling on my.
What is beetling?
You know when people fall over like a beetle?
Oh, right, no, I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, I call it beetling. And oh wow, I'm just
You all right?
Oh. Wow! Some massive piece of wood just fell off the desk and has taken out my shin.
Behind the scenes footage. The fourth walls. Are you okay? I don't know why I'm laughing. You look like you're in pain.
Oh, that was you. This is IRGC.
I'm not really in the IRGC.
Oh, I bet I've got a big old shiner on my knee now.
I bet you have. Well, after the break.
So now we're going to have on live TV Tech Op on his hands and knees underneath my desk trying to put this piece of wood that's just kneecapped me, and not that kind of kneecap, because they are basically
Nazis.
Oh no, we've got to say Chris isn't on his dump button, so we've got to be really careful. Ooh, wow. Thanks, Tech. That was. Can we show everyone what just collapsed on my leg?
What is that?
That is a heavy piece of wood.
What's it for?
I don't know. Oh look, there's electronics under there. There you go. I think
that's why it's there to stop people like long-legged Dolan kicking it.
And then with the sort of flinch. Oh, I've got to sit like this now because the thing that my earpiece connects to has fallen on the floor. So don't mind me. I'm just going to sort of hang out like Richard III for the rest of the show.
Does anyone know what happened to the 400,000 Kit Kats though?
No, well, you do.
I can't tell you, Alex. I told you I can't tell you.
What am I going to do about this? Hold on. I'm going to tentatively put. Oh my God! It's got stuck on the chair wheel. That's an advert break thing. Don't mind me while I sit and relax like this, so I can still hear what Chris says in my ear. Because otherwise, oh, never mind. So let's talk now about, well, Chris has decided the new format to Weird Hours. He's just going to put random headlines, a bit like a tombola of current affairs, and we're just going to work our way through them. We actually stole this one yesterday because there was no news yesterday, so we had to rob from today. Right. Well, like we've got a WhatsApp group where we now find weird headlines to use in Weird Hour. Well, Chris was nicking them because he thought, there's no news.
We need to start a secret WhatsApp group without Chris in, so we can't steal.
Exactly.
I don't want Saturday getting the Sunday goodies.
I know. You can't. It's basically the equivalent of a hangover, isn't it? You've robbed the joy from tomorrow to have the day before.
Although Chris has paid me a huge compliment this week by.
I thought you said Chris has paid you. That would be a magical miracle.
We don't get paid to do this. Don't be ridiculous. So he said, look, I'm just going to give you behind the fourth wall again. I'm just going to give you the headlines, and then you can riff from there. And I'm like, thank you for assuming I read any further than the headline on every story you give me. I make my mind up from the headline.
That's what I do.
My whole politics is based on what's written in the headline.
Journalists could save a lot of time because everyone only reads the first paragraph. Why bother doing the rest of it? We have short-term memories now. Anything longer than a sort of 60-character tweet, and it's like, well, that's too much for me.
Facts are boring as well. So
Elon Gust, Dame Judi Drench. We did do this yesterday with Peter Barnes. So sort of, the wind has been taken out of it. Mind the pun there, Chris. What have you got?
What, in terms of names?
Yeah.
Like Steamy Sandra.
Stormy Daniels. Let's bring her back out of the archives of news. Where's she gone?
Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
I don't know, 1,000 horsepower Bonnie Blue. I don't know.
Oh gosh, no! That's horrible. What a thought. Well, I've been moaning all day that in the modern era everything's just inverted. People go, oh well, it's the right thing to do when it's totally the worst thing to do. So maybe we should just invert storm names and call it sort of like Storm Sunshine.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Just trick people.
Storm non-storm.
And you imagine if it's the worst storm since 1987, which was a bad storm if you were in the south of England.
Is that the one where a chimney fell down?
No, that was really bad. Trees and stuff. Do you know
trees as well?
Genuinely, there was in October of '87 there was a major hurricane on the south coast of England.
Is this the one that Michael Fish
Yes.
failed to report? The famous Michael... Is it Michael Fish?
Yeah, Michael Fish.
It's like one of those things, it's just all the things that go down in British history that people know and they don't know why they know. Michael Fish not predicting the storm that made some trees fall down. It's sort of like big
slightly worse because someone had rung
ages.
in to BBC Weather and said, somebody's rung in to BBC Weather this afternoon and said there's likely to be a hurricane tomorrow. Don't be ridiculous, it's not going to happen, sort of thing. And then, of course, there was.
Do you know what's upsetting me, actually? So, my understanding... A lot. Well, right now, my throbbing shin is very much upsetting me. And the fact I'm having to sit like a gangster. But, you know, other than that...
Is it really that bad?
Other than that, one thing that's upsetting me is there's a rumour going around that the Met Office have closed a load of weather stations, so whenever you look at your app about what the weather's going to be, it's just a pack of lies.
Really?
And if we don't have that, what do we have?
We don't have anything.
We have nothing.
I'll tell you where the weather is, though. It's out there, so if you want to have a butcher's, you could just go out there and go, oh, yeah, look, it's... I mean, actually, this glass is tinted, so everything looks a bit
No, not this again. Not the look out of the window game where I thought there was a blackout because the blinds were down. You know, you're just trolling me now.
That was the first time we ever worked together as well. There's been a black... I don't know how to point this out.
This is what I'm talking about, you being some kind of undercover operator. Because the first time you come in here, there is some sort of fake news blackout that isn't a blackout, and all the tech's gone off air, and I'm sitting here, like, scratching like a baboon, leaving my mum a voice note, and I'm still in vision, and this is being broadcast around the world. And now, look, you're back, and I'm basically, you know, down one leg and having to, like, you know, develop scoliosis in order to do the job. I'm really worried you're in a lot of pain,
Alex. I'm laughing along for the entertainment value so that our viewers and listeners can enjoy themselves. But if you're in serious pain, you need to do something.
It's not serious pain. It's not the best. It's not ideal, you know, any sort of impact. I'm just going to have to dress up like I'm going in to do, like, you know, American football when I come in from now on. Hard hat, shoulder pads, the full
shin pads.
That's what I need mainly. And
what did you say earlier? Swollen shin. What did you call it? Sound like a really quirky band name. What did you say? You said you had a...
I don't know. Don't ask me to repeat what I've just said the last 15 minutes. I don't know what's come out of my mouth. That's the point of Weird Hour. We riff.
We never get anywhere. So the Elon Gust and Dame Julie Drench is quite funny, but we do...
Did you say Dame Drewley? Storm Drewley.
Try my best.
Oh, here we go.
But like you say, just there's something funny about them just being called Bob or something.
Yeah. Well, you know, when people were asked in the public what they should name their storms, guess what was the #1 entry?
I don't know.
Of course, it's Stormy McStormface. That's what we do now. That's what we do now. Talky McTalkface. Shall we have an Addy McAd break? Because I need to do something about this posture and this leg, because this is not sustainable for 45 minutes. We'll see you in just a moment.
Welcome to Down the Local, the show that goes from pub to pub across the country, speaking to the punters about the subjects driving us all nuts at the moment.
That's Rachel Reeves, Rachel Thieves, Rachel McCounts.
I don't really know Meghan Markle. I know Meghan Markle's from Sinks, and that's about it.
I don't know about anyone else, and I don't know where this is going. I have 0% beard, and I feel
Raising the flag, I think, is symptomatic of this desperation.
Is public transport good value for money?
No, it isn't.
You really don't like speaking to people.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
What's that?
Yeah, God.
Cities of Gold.
Cities of Gold.
Oh, man.
He must have remembered.
Yeah, he did. We were talking about it earlier.
This is one of our favourites.
It's the classic.
Such a good... Was it like Japanese influenced?
Well, it had that anime sort of thing going on, didn't it? A lot of stuff had that anime thing. Did you ever watch The Last Unicorn?
Don't know if I did.
Oh, man.
Don't know if I did.
You have no idea how good a film that is.
Oh, it's a film, right?
Yeah. And it's sort of similar sort of anime-style design, sort of weird 80s music, mystical, all about unicorns and stuff. And my brother and I, to this day, for reasons I can't explain, you know, you've got like a sibling closing age and the weirdness just continues throughout your life. To this day, there was a character in that called Schmendrick, and my brother still calls me Schmend. He'll send a message, all right, Schmend. Can I just say, I have actually been injured in the workplace. I have a visible bruise from, and the other irony, I don't know if you can even see that, but I've got literally like a,
industrial injury.
Yeah, industrial. I need to know what the compensation hotline is. Because I've been injured
Just
at work.
call them,
And the sheer irony...
Casualty.
Oh, there we are, exactly.
Oh my God, they're on fire.
But the sheer irony of the fact that, Tech Op has come in and put that, basically the trapdoor back in position. It's the narrative arc of talking about You are a fool if you dare, because you get injured at work.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, man. Talking about people getting injured at work, Ed Davies survived baking things, sadly. What is wrong with this man? Why doesn't he just do politics? Why is he always either wearing knitted jumpers, riding on jet skis, baking cakes? He's basically just like a Tupperware party in human form. Like, he's not a political party, he's just a Tupperware party.
Well, him and his politics are entirely irrelevant. So if he actually spoke about his politics or himself, then it just wouldn't work. So he has to find this niche somewhere between everything. And the problem is, it's allowed to flourish like a specialist mould in the corner of your shower tray that you can't quite get to.
A specialist mould in the corner of your shower tray.
Yeah.
See, this is why I do think, you're sort of developing chemical weapons at home.
Can you imagine this removes 99% of all Ed Davey?
Right, it always removes 99%. And I'm like, what about that extra 1%? What are they?
It's a standing joke. Why don't they do that? But I think there's an incredibly sinister... I know this is weird, Al, but I had this thing about Ed Davey. There's an incredibly sinister side to this man, because if you think about the things he presided over in the past with regards to the Horizon scandal in the post office, and the things he turns a blind eye to now to suck up to Keir Starmer, there's a really dangerous side to Ed Davey. He just goes about his business because nobody pays any attention to him. And the Lib Dems are sort of just really now have just become the party of people with nothing to concern themselves with.
Yeah. That's why in my part of the world, that's why everyone votes, because it's just so idyllic and peaceful. It's like, well, who needs
just
politics anyway?
There's no asylum
Let's
sneakers.
bake some cakes.
No, they're not. They're just... they're not affected by the troubles of the world, and that's why they're allowed this clown figure, like I say, this specialist mould that has been able to grow in the corner of Parliament.
The Ed Davey mould. I'm talking about the specialist mould. There's nothing more specialist and mouldy than the blimmin' Green Party. Have you seen them at Trafalgar Square doing the whole... I mean... I want to know, in terms of specialist mould, your descriptor for Zach Polanski and Hannah Spencer on that stage. Here they are. Have a look at that. Look at that. What is this?
The thing is, getting all these people together in one place is actually a really good idea because we can see them. One thing you didn't see yesterday was a Union Jack at all. Every single one of these people are supposed to be fighting for a future of Britain. He's got a mouth like a badly kept graveyard.
Yesterday, Peter Barnes said he just looks like a thumb. I love it. He's like a thumb picture with the mouth with a badly kept graveyard. It's just amazing.
And you know, she's the epitome. Hannah Spencer, this is the epitome of everything that's gone wrong and been allowed to happen. These are incredibly serious times politically, and what we've got is this CBBC presenter who was actually propped up by Islamists. You just couldn't make it up. She's like the friendly face of jihad.
She is a friendly face of jihad. But do you know what? It's like there's just a look at them. Like they're having some sort of rave, and there's someone who's clearly a refugee from the Paris Olympics opening ceremony is also on that stage.
Absolutely.
Oh, that harrowing event. Whoa, there we go. What a lovely family-friendly event. That man thrusting his nether regions at the crowd. Is it a man? I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
A male stripper. Fresh from Compton Street, he just comes straight to the show after...
fresh out of Compton.
A night fresh out of Compton Street. and the one missing figure there is Moth and Ali, you know, the strict Islamist.
I would love it if he was there and
grinding on the Muslim guy.
Yeah, like doing a little bit of beatboxing or something at the back of the stage. But, you know, if politicians now are not going to bother doing politics, instead they're going to hold a rave or a bake ceremony. A bake competition. What do you reckon it is that Reform should do if they were going to turn their hands to sort of just holding sort of social events instead?
Well,
what would be the Reform social
I think Reform
events?
are going about it right. I would say that some of the pyrotechnics now at Reform is camp as some of this stuff. The pyrotechnics at Reform conferences,
they love a pyrotechnic.
out of this world now, and there's like pew, psh, pew.
It's bonfire night every night.
It's like really interesting. Look, I think what Reform have got to do is pretty much what they're doing already, which is just say, look, actually politics is for grown-ups.
Yeah.
And we've got some serious issues, and we're going to talk about them in a serious way. Behind fireworks.
I love the fact that we're now. We're like, yes, politics is for grown-ups. Oh, look at this. Fun fact, my brother also calls me Schmendrick.
No way!
No way! Which is actually a Yiddish term for someone who is foolish, ineffectual
really?
or pathetic. Oh, can I just say, from one schmend to another, I love to hear it. Who knew that it was a Yiddish term? Well, you know, that kind of, because he was a fool in the film, can I just say. Someone else has said, get this, David Dorset, he's talking about there are weather stations out there, and if you wanted to have a look at private weather stations, because there's one, for instance, that's Portland Bill, David Dorset says, you can go to, and get this, if you want to have a look at private weather stations. I don't know if this is true. Someone's going to have to Google this and fact check. Apparently, you have to go to windy.com.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Windy.com. I love it.
I've got all sorts of inappropriate jokes to make.
Someone sort of said, lol, storm names always bring back Elon Guston, Dame Judy Gush or whatever it was. Stop it. Stop it, people. Should never... Oh, I love this one. Someone said, Alex, send in the Milky Bar Kid to find the Kit Kats.
That's what they used to call me at school. That was a nickname
You were
for
the
me.
Milky Bar Kid?
Because I had glasses, and I was very pale.
Well, you the Milky Bar Kid.
And I can't remember the other reason. Oh, I had no hair at all. I did have hair. If you look now, I've got no... Really, I haven't got any discernible eyebrows.
Well, I don't know. If there was an eyebrow off between you and Richard Tice, I think you eyebrow him.
Well, that's the man.
Yeah.
He hasn't got any, has he? That's
no, it's because he's very sort of initially wants to be very fair of hair, and it's a very strange thing. Oh, I want to do this now. When you take a photograph of someone who doesn't have eyebrows on your phone, and you go to that feature where you can get a pen and you just sort of draw them on the photo with Sharpies, because people who don't don't have visible eyebrows. When you add eyebrows, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
It's such a game changer.
Because they can really, they're expressive as well, eyebrows. You can make yourself sort of happy and sad and angry just with eyebrows, can't you?
This actually, my friend and I, when we were living and working in Kenya, for the government. One of the... Oh, God, I'll tell you a great story. The General Secretary of the party, a guy called Raphael Tuju, also did not have eyebrows.
Really?
And so my mate Will and I, we went home at night, we just played the game of draw eyebrows on Tuju. That's what we did. Anyway, my mate in Kenya messaged me the other day going, guess what, guess what? I'm like, what? Tuju's been abducted. And I'm like, what? Front page of... the newspaper in Kenya, Tuju's been abducted, and I'm like, oh, wow, that is very Kenyan. Anyway, she said, guess what, the next day, Tuju wasn't abducted, he was lying about being abducted, he was actually hiding at home. I'm like, oh, okay, well, still very Kenyan. Next day, guess what, Tuju wasn't abducted, he was hiding at home because people following him who he thought were undercover police and he had to hide from them. And I was like, okay. And then I messaged my mate Will going, dude, have you seen what's going on with Tuju in Kenya? And he's like, yeah, look at this. And guess what, there he is now in the hospital in Karen under a lime green sort of heat sheet looking very poorly. And I'm just like...
What's going on with Tuju?
What's going on with Tuju is what I want
this
to
is
know.
a bit of a recurring theme.
This is, I mean, news in Kenya is a whole different world.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a newspaper in Kenya.
What's it called?
That on a Wednesday, I can't remember if it was the Daily Nation or the other one, which was the good one. Anyway, that every Wednesday they actually had a story which was like the newspaper version of Weird Hour. They would have weird stories from around Africa. And I tell you what, when it comes to weird news, Africa out eyebrows all of us. It's like, don't open that trap door.
Just their normal news is weird news, though.
Well, exactly. You know, when this isn't really a laughing matter, but when I was over there and I was working for the government and the president, and my job was to sort of write speeches that would mollify tensions because the opposition were trying to stir up all this craziness, and it was all about being able to address the whole of the nation to try and prevent them falling into post-election violence. I know, cheerful subject, it gets weird over there, I tell you that much. But then this is how some African politics works. They were bringing in voting with fingerprints, biometric voting at polling stations, and everyone was like suspicious. Oh, you're going to rig elections. Rigging elections is every single sort of African election campaign always ends up with that as the common denominator of if someone else is clearly going to win, they must have rigged. And the guy who was in charge of the biometric systems at the Electoral Commission there would sign in using his own fingerprint. Went into work one day and mysteriously the next day he'd been found in a ditch with a prostitute, both dead, missing his hand.
Wow.
I know. Yeah.
So he was using that to get in and do his job for him.
I tell you what, politics in the UK is so banal and boring compared to some of the action you get if you do this stuff abroad. Oh, well, shall we take another break?
Why not?
Let's do it. I'm going to tend to my wounds, and we'll be back just after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh, I don't know. I do know this, but I can't think what it is. Stingray. Before our time, Alex. How old do you think we are?
Stingray. Was it the Mekong with Stingray?
Sounds about right.
No, was that Captain Scarlett? Scarlett. Captain Scarlett.
Very posh.
Captain Scarlett. But can I just read a few messages here? There's some that I actually don't remotely understand, first
I'll
of
read
all.
them out anyway,
Our
what could
favourite.
go wrong?
Our number one fan, Claire, in Buckley, in Northwood. Yeah, Claire! We love Claire. Claire's the one and only person who really appreciates Weird Hour. Everyone else, I'm not sure. I love it. So that's the most important thing. That first Weird Hour was the best ever. Entertainment gold. What can you see out there, Paul? I think it's a blackout or a blind. And then Claire's written Tech Op, spelt correctly, TEKKOP, is on fire today. Hope your throbbing shin is better soon.
It.
I just checked my throbbing shin, and weirdly, because this is Weird Hour, the bruise that had suddenly emerged and already turned dark blue seems to have disappeared, and I don't know what's going on.
You've got some sort of...
I think I'm like sort of magically self-healing.
Thank you,
like
Jesus.
Like an axolotl.
Yeah.
You know, if you take
What's an axolotl?
I look like an axolotl, someone once told me.
Really?
It's like
is that a
sort
compliment?
of. It's like it looks like if someone were to draw a cartoon of an underwater pink newt with a smiling face. it's that. Really, they're very nice.
Pink newt.
Axolotls are lovely.
Oh, they sound it.
They're very nice.
So it's a compliment.
But they can they eat each other's limbs from time to time. But
Right.
don't worry, they just grow back. Yay. Pete in Southend-on-Sea simply says, Weird Hour is weirder than usual. Polanski doing the Jive Hardy dance. That's sort of it. It works to me. Jive Hardy, Jihadi. I see where you're going.
Oh,
do you know, when I
yes.
lived in Ghana, I love my African stories all coming out today, they actually had, or have, I don't know if it's still a popular thing, a dance in Ghana that they call Al-Qaeda.
Really?
Yeah, like actual just
Let's all
Al-Qaeda.
do the Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, I know.
Dee-dee-dee-dee.
It's like... Yeah, weird.
Why not?
And I love this. Maria in Newbury says, in 1987 hurricane, Seven Oaks lost a few of the great oaks.
Yeah,
so what is it now? 5 oaks?
Yeah.
4 oaks.
But it was
How
a
many
big
oaks are
deal.
left in
Where
7
were you?
Oaks?
I mean, you were barely with us then, but where were you living in '87?
In Gloucester with my parents. I hadn't yet started my sort of pattern of going and working abroad at the tender age of 4.
But I mean, but you have no memory of this storm.
Not really.
No, it's big news down in Pompey.
I've got memories of everyone talking about the blimmin' storm.
The thing the lasting memory I have of it is my mum took me and my sister Jo to school. Everybody else's parents then came and collected the kids because they thought, well, there's no point, we couldn't do anything. And me and Jo were just left there all day until my mum came back from shopping. And
so everyone had sort of left school early in case the school got blown down.
We just left there because mum wanted to go and do her shopping. And I've never forgiven her for that.
I can tell.
It's not on.
You carry those scars to this day. No wonder you turned against the state and started working for the enemies. Can you translate this message? Because I don't understand it. Dave in Dorset. I couldn't waffle to you, me deario.
Maderio would assume is referring to you as my dear.
My dear. But what is I
waffle?
couldn't waffle to
waffle
you?
is talking. Waffle.
Right.
Birds eye potato waffles and waffly versatile. Do you remember
I've forgotten that. Yeah. They were horrible.
I prefer Alpha Bites, I'm going to be honest.
When it comes to ultra-processed food, fake potato is the absolute worst. But I remember school dinners, and I'm not a fussy eater really, and I didn't mind most of school dinners. Did we talk about school dinners before?
I don't know if we did.
This is a good topic for us, I feel. But the thing that I dreaded, the thing I hated, the big metal tray with the sort of flat, white, sort of solid lump of mashed potato smash. And they'd use an ice cream scoop.
The wood.
And that stuff tasted like bile. It was like the sort of chimera. I keep saying chimera at the moment. Don't know why. Of like paracetamol and the dreg ends of when you're feeling really sick.
Always served to you
together
by a
and
big woman
solidified.
with a hairy wart.
Yes! That is so
Hairy
true.
warts are out of fashion now. You don't see them so much, do you?
You don't really see them. I think,
Please
women
send in
with
your
beards.
photographs of your hairy warts.
Your carbuncles. That's a great word. Carbuncle's a good one. Chimera, carbuncle.
Oh, yeah. Great player.
Nice words. But the one thing I did love is the sort of the squares of the chocolate crunch with the pink sauce.
I know what you mean.
Where's Sponge gone?
Well, there's no need anymore. Same with Angel Delight.
Do you know what? I think we should open our... in the climate of prosperity that is the United Kingdom, with hospitality doing so well, we should open the weird restaurant and just throwback foods.
Just Angel Delight and... there's got to be some trifle in there. There's not enough trifle.
Not enough trifle.
No,
definitely not enough
Sponge fingers. We don't see them anymore, do you? They were mainly in the trifle when I was growing up.
I think they're still around. They're still knocking about.
You still get the sponge fingers?
The odd sponge fingers still out there. But you know what I haven't seen for ages? And that is the, oh my gosh, oh, you got a Kit Kat?
Oh, wow.
Oh, I actually managed to catch something. I'm so glad because Paul did it. That almost took him out.
I think Chris just threw it at me.
You can't throw a chunky directly at someone's head. It could be another accident in the workplace.
Ah,
but
it's one of these contraband ones.
It is. I think. Well, now we know who was behind the heist. Let's be fair. It's very clear who did it.
By the way, they're getting smaller, aren't they?
Oh yeah, like the Freddo. It's sort of, you know, official...
Do you see Freddos are now like £1.12 or something?
It's the official unit of inflation in the United Kingdom.
It's madness. When they were Chewits, Freddos, always 10p.
The Chewits, they've gone, haven't they? I liked them. They were good.
But maybe they're still there. It's just you and I don't go to children's sweet shops anymore.
But they have that desk as you come into work, guarded by that woman. That woman.
So there's never anyone guarding it when I'm there?
Oh, the weekends? No, during the weekdays, she's there guarding the sweets.
So there's actually, for our viewers and listeners, what you don't realise is there is a desk down the other end near a sports channel you might be aware of. And they've got this huge desk of old school sweeties, haven't they?
Yeah, like flying saucers,
but during the week,
jacks.
Well, I'm never here during the week because that's when, like... the actual serious people come in and
during the week they have fruit boxes.
Fruit, do they?
Yeah, and she's recently started assembling fruits on that sort of entry desk, a bit like the sort of ambassador's Ferrero Rocher.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What are they paying her? What a job!
What a job indeed! Yeah, she is the guardian of the free workplace snacks.
No wart.
No, absolutely not. She's like the free tuck shop of News UK. I love it.
They don't do tuck shops anymore, do they? No.
I don't know. There's a lot of things they don't do anymore, and they really need to bring them back. But mainly, I've just remembered this. Oh, gosh. This is something we're going to have to do next week, and I really want your help with this. So, pineapple cheeses are the best thing that...
Oh, well,
you know.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
There's this one account that you can follow online called Nailed It. And Nailed It is when people try and make, especially with baking, someone's made a sort of Little Mermaid cake and someone's tried to do the same Little Mermaid cake and it just looks ridiculous. And the best Nailed It I've ever seen was someone who tried to make one of those pineapple cheese hedgehogs and they'd sort of really gone to town, tried to make it actually look like a hedgehog. I can't even describe it. I'm going to Google it and show it to you in the next advert break. And when we come back, I want you to explain what you've seen. Oh, actually, on the subject of creatures, why is this not in your magic list, by the way, Ray? Oh, I know why Ratty hasn't put it in the list, because it's about a giant rodent. So it's an attack against his people.
Member.
It's a family member. But there has been an escapee capybara down your neck of the woods called Samba.
There was two of them.
They're called Samba. Two?
But they both escaped, but one of them only went to a nearby hedge. That was quickly found. The other one, Larry or Samba, he's gone. Although he seems to have been spotted in many places ever since.
So what's the latest on Samba Gate?
He's still out there. He's still out there.
How big is this thing?
They're like... They look like hamsters, but they're like... Or guinea pigs, more like, sorry.
Right.
But there's no point me doing this. Some people are listening on the radio and on the TV. They've know how tall I am.
So, you know, people usually sort of do the size of 10 double-decker buses or 2 Wembley stadiums. You know, how are we going to describe the dimensions of the capybara?
It's not the size of 2 double-decker buses. They would find it. Can you imagine? We can't find the double-decker gerbil.
That sounds like an amazing 80s movie, you know, when the sort of giant capybara comes, like a trail of destruction through central London.
So apparently he or she, I don't want to misgender, I know it's important.
Who knows with Samba? Could be
community.
Be either.
Yeah, he's probably got a cafe on. He's probably in the...
He's probably on the anti-far
the unwashed march. They would have been there. But apparently he's gone by the River Itchen. Now, if you've ever been by the River Itchen, there's some lovely walks along there. It's a beautiful place in Hampshire. Unfortunately, it comes out in Southampton, which is absolutely disgusting. Sorry, I forgot.
The fact that the river comes out in Southampton mountain is an item of disgust for you.
Well, if reports follows.
How dare that river meet the sea?
It's outrageous. What does it think it's doing? But yeah, the Carabara's on the run. Samba's on the run. He has been spotted a couple of places.
Do you know what I think he's done? Did you see that thing that went viral online with these dogs who had apparently been dog-napped? And a plucky corgi has, I don't know, someone's been nicking people's pets, and then somehow the van that they were putting these pets in, they escaped from them, and a plucky corgi is leading a load of other dogs to try and find their way home.
Isn't this the story of Beethoven, the movie?
I'm pretty sure, Paul, that we put this in our weird hour chat of stories we could talk about. And you've just forgotten it already. And it's the story of our age.
Yeah.
It's amazing, because basically there's this little corgi, and it's sort of like dogs of all different dimensions. We still haven't figured out what our official measurement of the dimensions of
no, it's a large creatures is going to be. It's a lab. I don't know, it's like a half Labrador gerbil.
So is Labrador going to be our official measurement? So it's 1/3 Labrador in size.
Yeah. A Capadoodle or whatever.
It's this amazing picture though of this these dogs. And I don't know if it's like AI, I don't know if it's fake news, because it looks like it is. It should be. If it's real, then wow. If it's real, then I actually want, you know, I want skycopters and, you know, following their movements, tracking them. David skycopters.
Like helicopters.
Cameras, yes. Yeah, helicopters that belong to news. News helicopters would be a better description.
Aero seats.
And I want sort of like animal dog trackers. I want, you know, a bit like that what's that man who... No, never mind.
The crazy
Forrest
thing
Gump
is,
type
Marwell
thing,
Zoo
tracking.
just casually said, well, we often get animals escape. And, you know, I don't want to alarm anyone, but capybaras aren't particularly dangerous
What else
to
do they
anyone.
have in there?
But they've got them all. Lions, tigers and bears, oh my. They're all in there. They've got it all in there. It's
Well, they don't, because apparently things don't stay in there. So rubbish zoo by the signs of it.
It's probably
I take
woke.
that back. I take that back.
It'll be woke
Probably
not
wonderful.
to have fences now, though, won't it?
Zoo. Yes.
There's no fence around the lions. We don't want to keep them in.
Yeah.
We want to make it like
They should
Africa.
be able to express themselves freely.
Yeah.
Go and join anti-far-right marches if they want to.
Yeah. I'd love to see
apparently
that.
we've got to talk to you about a competition.
Is it to be
You're
us?
not allowed to enter because you're sort of, you know, part of the Talk family now. That's in the small print. Yeah, You're not part of this. Right, we're giving you the chance to win a life-changing £20,000 completely tax-free. I like the fact we're going to do this as a double act. You be the hype man about this competition. Right. Yeah, Rachel Reeves proof you're not going to be giving any of it to HMRC, and you can do that right now here on Talk. That's £20,000.
Or 1 month's mortgage payment in London.
Hey! Straight into your bank account.
Wow.
Spend it. Save it. Splash it. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah. Give it to a homeless person.
Here's how you can do just that.
For your chance to win, text TALK to 83338. Texts cost £2.50 plus your standard network rate. Or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close 9th of April 2026, 4 p.m. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus, UK residents only. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talk.tv/win. So for your chance to win, text TALK to 83338 now.
It was nice we had the... Are we on air?
We are on air, we're back. But by the way, we are going to go to an advert break now. So good luck if you are entering that competition. And, yeah, enter it. That's it. We'll see you soon.
Welcome to Down the Local, the show that goes from pub to pub across the country, speaking to the punters about the subjects driving us all nuts at the moment.
Rachel Reeves, Rachel Thieves, Rachel McCown.
I don't really know Meghan Markle. I know Meghan Markle's from Sinks, and that's about it.
I don't know about anyone else, and I don't know where this is going. I have 0% beard, and I feel
Raising the flag, I think, is symptomatic of its desperation.
Is public transport good value for money?
No, it isn't.
You really don't like speaking to people.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh God, I'm crying.
Scooby-Doo.
If you want to really cheer yourself up on this Sunday, if you want to get into the state that Paul and I are in, do something, I beg of you, do it right now, okay? Get your phone, go onto Google and type these words, nailed it hedgehog. Because this all started with someone who'd made a hedgehog cake, which the original hedgehog cake, let's see if I can show it on the screen. There's the original hedgehog cake. Can we zoom in on this, Dave? There's the original hedgehog cake that was someone had made on Pinterest. And then people have tried to recreate this hedgehog cake. So there it is. That's what it should look like. It basically it looks like a hedgehog. It's rather cleverly done, some might say. This is someone's attempt. What is it? I know it's radio, but it's basic. I can't even describe what that thing is. It's like someone's just got some sort of round shape of sponge, covered it in some pink icing, stabbed a load of chocolate fingers in it.
Put Zach Polanski's mouth in it.
Those teeth you get in pick and mix and some chocolate button eyes. But if you just Google nailed it hedgehog, there's a gallery of them. There's all sorts of things, all sorts of news. Oh my goodness, I can't look at it. It's too much. Please, at home, I beg of you, Google nailed it hedgehog. Because if you're not rolling around on the floor crying with laughter, you need to go and see a doctor. Because it's the funniest thing that I've ever seen. I can't even.
Oh my!
By the way, Clayton in Dartford is correcting all of the bad, not correcting them, but telling us what all the baddies are in various things. Jerry Anderson bad guys. Who's Jerry Anderson?
No.
I don't know. Anyway, he's behind a lot of the bad guys. Captain Scarlet was the Mysterons. Was it Mysterio?
Right.
I don't know, Mysterons, I think. Stingray was the Titanic hands, apparently. The Beacons were Dan Dare's opponents.
Wow.
This is a long one, and I don't know if you never know when you start reading a message if you haven't proofread it first. But
massively sweary.
We're going to jump into this because it says, "Hi, Alex and Paul. Trivia time.
Yay!
Are we alone in the universe?"
No.
In our small young galaxy, our sun is just one of 400 billion stars, and our galaxy is just one of 2 trillion galaxies that we currently know of. That's a lot of stars and a lot of planets, most of them billions of years older than ours. As Arthur C. Clarke said, either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally as terrifying. I choose to believe we are not.
Let's hope not.
And he's in Pompey with his dog.
Is he?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I thought he was mad, and now I just think he's a genius.
Is it a dog or is it the capybara? Yeah. That's what I want to know.
Yes.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he's just got it on a lead, walking around, going like, "That's just a special. It's a nailed it dog." That's what that is. A lot of people messaging in about the Mekong being Dan Dare. Weird Hour, Alex, Paul, and team. Chopping wood is usually an axolotl. What?
I think there's a pun there.
A lot, maybe. Oh, I see. Oh, that took me a while.
Yeah.
Chimera Carbuncle sounds like a consulting detective from True Blood. Chimera Carbuncle. On the subject of old sweets, do you remember Spangles?
Yeah.
I don't.
But they were before our time. They
What
were.
were they?
They were a suite, probably of this. I don't know age this person, but they were a suite of the 70s.
What were they?
They were a hard sweet, I think.
That's narrowing it down.
They were sugary.
Categorised it. Okay, sugary, hard.
Let them. We.
I mean, what proportion of a Labrador is it? That's what I
I
need
would
to
say
know.
1/28th of a Labrador's foot.
That's still a sizable
then,
sweet.
but I don't know what's happening here.
That's a sizable sweet. My brother tried to crack a Yorkie Easter egg on his forehead and ended up in A&E.
What? Was it actually an ostrich egg? What do you mean?
I love the idea that someone's just like seen the advert of like Yorkie chocolate for men, doom, and it's got the Easter egg and just gone doof. And ended up knocking themselves
What a way to
out.
go.
Oh, there's a brilliant. Have you seen this thing that's been going on social media? Do you know that's what we need to do for Weird
Have
Now?
you seen this thing?
Have you seen this thing on social media? We need to get the dogs thing because that was amazing. We need to get regular nail dits because that's pure joy. But also there's this brilliant video and it shows some sort of like British lads and they're sort of drinking tins of lager and they're standing in what looks like some sort of concrete backyard challenging each other, like, you know, bare-chested, to like whack each other with patio furniture really hard. And they're just standing going, go on lad, like hit me, and he's braced himself and it's like whang with a big wooden patio chair. And someone's done this brilliant quote going like, imagine an Eton-educated Oxford graduate who studied the classics being in charge of 5,000 of these men. This is how Britain conquered the world.
Yeah, that's exactly how Britain conquered the world.
It's amazing. It's like absolutely chef's kiss. I think it went viral like to the tune of millions. Jerry and Sylvia Anderson created Thunderbirds, Stingray, Terrorhawks.
See, we've stumbled across, I don't know, and the trouble is because we don't know, we've now stumbled across probably the most important subject to our viewers and listeners. The Weird Hour fans seem to be incredibly interested in 1960s and 70s children TV. So we need to really understand this a lot more. These are the key subjects. We don't know,
need to understand this
because they're going to get angrier and angrier, and you don't want angry middle-aged people out there.
I think this is where it all went wrong. They changed children's television and people started going wonky.
Now it's all the gender fluid bunnies or whatever. I don't know what it is now.
Weird things, not good weird. Your unit of measurement, animal measurements, could be like with horses and use the number of hands. Yeah. But if the creatures are really small, you could use fingers or even Kit Kat fingers. Well, there's a problem with this inherently. I mean, first of all, Kit Kat Chunky, that's a big finger.
That's a big finger.
But also, you know, people always griping over they don't just put up the price of the chocolate, they reduce the size. So
mental. You just wouldn't do it with any other product, though, would you?
But also, like, how did we come about? Like, you know, we pride ourselves in Britain of imperial measurements, which is like that's the size of a hand. Whose hand?
Yeah,
it's not exactly great,
small
is it?
child.
I also love the fact that, you know, British imperial measurements the size of a hand. Well, you know, a toddler's hand.
It is
Paganini's
a little bit
hand.
medieval, isn't
it's
it?
Like that's a foot. Whose foot? And then my favourite is, well, that's stone, 10 stone. It's like, go pick some stones, that's how much you weigh. It's rubbish, medieval. It's like, it makes Stonehenge look like the sort of greatest, most modern engineering on earth, saying like, how much does that weigh? 6 stone.
That's exactly what it was, though, wasn't it?
Are we talking like megaliths? Like,
well, what? Yeah, why were they so mega?
Because they're big, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why do you think? That's what the prefix mega means. Big.
I've become a concrete garden patio furniture man just by doing an hour of this.
No, I tell you what, the tipping point. Well, no, it all started off with the trapdoor incident. And this is where the first Weird Hour was born because of the tech faults. And I think that from now on, you're going to have to just come in.
Come in and bash around the head with something.
Yeah, with Jimmy Mallett's inflatable,
oh my God.
Inflatable hammer and just start wrecking things in the studio. And it's going to get us in the mood.
What was that?
What do you
It was
want?
a whacker wave. Wasn't it?
Oh, really? Was that? Oh, I don't know.
Wasn't that? Probably some sort of gang hand sign now. I'm sure that was a whacker wave.
All I can say is Cyrell from Swansea.
Cyril?
This is a name. I don't think it's Cyril. It's Cyrelle, like Cyrell. I've never heard that name. It's a great name. Not sure entirely how we're going around the pronunciation of this. And also, when it's in Wales, you just don't know because season-wise do different things over there. And L's. So actually in Welsh it's be Cyrechi. Karecki or something
Yeah.
from Swansea. Says Alex and Paul, you're our stars. I like this. I'm crying laughing on hedgehog cakes. Oh, chur, up my Sunday. Up. Amazing. You could tell she is crying with laughter because, or he, chur. Karecki.
The Cyril isn't.
Cyril Karecki is crying with laughter because she's looked at the hedgehog cakes. I think this is why nobody else is messaging us now because they've all Googled nailed it hedgehog.
You forgot to do one thing, which was say at the end of our show, go and look at it. They all went to look at it.
No, but it helps because now they're just sort of in the zone where everything's funny. I think we should start Weird Al with a nailed it thing.
A different nailed it every week because there's going to be loads of stuff on there.
There is so much stuff on there. In fact, from now on, I actually want people to send in nailed it. In fact, no. Why
The
stop
Littlest
there?
Hobo's playing.
What?
The Littlest Hobo is playing, which means, I reckon, that they're telling us we're going to go. I don't know.
We are coming down to that part, but we've still got about, a minute 30 to go, which in broadcast is basically a week.
Hours, not
So we
fast.
can't start doing the payoff now, because every now and then, the worst thing is when you sort of get it wrong, the top of the hour countdown, it's such a stressful moment. People think this is easy doing this job, just sitting here talking about cakes that should look like hedgehogs.
People think this is easy.
Not baked by Ed Davey.
God, this is well planned.
So well planned. But when you get to the end of the hour and the countdown is happening and you sort of think you have to quickly calculate how many sentences you can squeeze out in the time. And the worst thing is that, thank you